Yeah, it's a Friday night flick and you know it's going down. Get your friends and your knives and let's have a good time. Got that play, click, clacking and I'm ready to go. Gotta check the homie Groove on to see what knives he's got.
I can't believe it's Friday and we made it. Get the weekend started, let's go live on YouTube. It's Friday, I can't believe we made it. It's Friday. I can't believe it's Friday and we made it. Get the weekend started, let's go live on YouTube. Ooh. It's a Friday night flick and you know it's going down. Get your friends and your knives and let's have a good time. Got that blade click clacking and I'm ready to go. Gotta check the homie Groove on to see what knives he's got. Ooh. Gotta check the homie Groove on to see what knives he's got. Oh, I can't believe it's Friday and we made it. Get the weekend started, let's go live on YouTube. It's Friday, I can't believe we made it. It's Friday.
Lights go dark, the stream comes on. Javon's here, the vibe is strong. Click and clack, the steel in sight. Every edge sharpened, Friday night. Night flicks dance under the light. Blades that shine and cut so tight. Handles spin and edges glide. Friday night flicks worldwide. The craft with steady flow. Steel and story you'll wanna know. Flick of the wrist, how smooth it goes. Every frame a master show. Night flicks dance under the light. Blades that shine and cut so tight. Handles spin and edges glide. Friday night flicks worldwide.
I'm a little bit, but are you high on cigarettes? And when that stuff runs out, you're gonna wanna make it. Are you high on cigarettes? Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Do you know that you're right or wrong? 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 He don't smoke them, but he loves it when you do. That's why he's high on cigarettes. And if you find him, you should light him up with you. He's getting high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Do you know that you're right or wrong? 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 Do you know that you're right or wrong?
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Welcome, kids. I hope you can hear me. Just because I'm getting ready to say, I dropped the ball. I left my coffee across the room. I hate to do this, but y'all are going to have to sit tight for about 17 seconds. I'll be right back. I'm back. Yeah, this knife store experiment's making me fall asleep. Sire Shop's in the house. What's up, Sire Shop? I've been meaning to get in touch with you. Guess what I've got sitting in my living room right by my front door that's not yet been opened? The box. Good evening. I still haven't done it, girl. I'll tell you about it. I haven't been able to bring myself to do it. B Shady is in the house. And when I get back to Sire Spot, I've got to give her the member love because she's a channel member. She comes by Sunday for the live streams and gets in on our little giveaways. We got Henry in the house. What's up, Henry? Welcome, buddy. Marco Ye is in the house. Good to see you, Marco. We've got Miss Kathleen Smith is in the house. Welcome, young lady. Pleasure to see you. Hey, man, 1501. Good to see you. Guys, I try to start at 8 on Fridays. I fall asleep because I get home at about 6:30 and I sit on the couch and inevitably I pass out and wake out like 10 minutes before 8. And I've let y'all down at my early starts. I apologize. Usually I would say, how was your Friday? I'm going to do that as soon as I get through saying hi, because even though I'm early by 5 minutes, technically, think about that. I'm early and I'm feeling guilty for leaving y'all waiting. That's dedication for a streamer or a YouTuber. Well, you know, I just woke up. I haven't even opened my coffee, but I'm going to get through seeing people like my brother, Paul Mills, channel member. What's up, Paulie? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're having a good week. And we got Mr. Angelo in the house, a channel member. Happy Friday to you, my friend. And then here's me with my apology for being early, even though I thought I was late. I think I said hey to Marco. Marco's always the first person in chat. He's just a rock star. He gets scratchy no matter what because he's always here. Sire Shop. Good to see you, Knife Nut. There are new knife people being birthed around us all the time. I met a guy today and his fiance coming in looking at camping knives and asked them what they were going to do with it. And they said, camp. And I said, that's a start. I said, are you going to be prepping food mainly? Are you going to take an axe where you can chop your stuff up? Or are you going to be chopping with this knife? And we never thought about it. And I said, well, I've always been told that if you think about what you're going to be cutting mostly, it'll help me help you find a good knife. Needless to say, they were at the exploratory stages and they were very intrigued by the fact that people come in and look at knives for hours on end because they happen to be on Friday. Typically, people come and linger. That's when the case people come out from under the rocks before their what's not sales. And they come just make me just lose faith in the knife people. Neil McKenzie, what is up, brother? Channel member, friend extraordinaire. We'll talk about Blade Show. Friday, it's going to be kind of probably not a Friday Night Flicks, but if we're somewhere like Stevie's or somewhere I can go live, I only need a phone to do it. So I wouldn't mind. And I'll probably do some remote. I know I'm going to make video one day. I'm going to take a list this week of the booths I want to cover. I can't do the whole show. I'm not going to do spend the whole time there going around filming a bunch of stuff I don't know anything about. I just want to get the stuff that I think my viewers are interested in and talk to people like that and share that kind of content one day, just some video content. I toyed with the fact because I've got a gimbal that I use now when I do my walkthroughs at Knives and More and stuff like that. But I don't really want to be that guy at Blade Show walking around with the camera talking to himself. I may do it if I think the content, if I come across a table that it's really cool, I may do a little pop-up 10-minute live streams just showing something I found that's really cool. I don't know, because Blade Show is such a up in the air thing, you know. I ought to go live from the Kaiser dinner Saturday night. Then no telling, I might pop up, but I think our regularly scheduled next week members live and Friday Night Flicks will probably have to be postponed. I'll try to make those up during the week because there's always stuff I need to do the week after Blade Show just to keep my serotonin up, because everything's such a dump after you get back from Blade Show. It's just kind of like how coolly. The sound effect was a deviation. See, I'm trying to freshen it up, and instead of just blasting music, I figured I'd do a little slide with the bounce, do something different, you know, break it up a bit. I was going to do the lady blowing up on the boat, which is my favorite drop. I mean, of all times. I'm going to have to show it.
There's too much water in that kettle. And now the lid's on crooked. And that means disaster for this lady. Because she is on a boat. Don't boil a kettle on a boat. There's too much water in that kettle. And now the lid's on crooked.
Worked out well if I didn't have the loop button on. But I love that little British commercial. Don't boil a kettle on a boat. The lid's crooked. There's so many of those. I'll download with the intentions of getting a lot of short little different commercials. And for a while I did, but I found out that my computer's a space hog and I've got to invest a few $100 if I want to get a really fast memory for my videos that would make sense, that would work right. I've kind of researched it. So I've just tried to keep my computer lean. As you can tell, it doesn't run lean because it'll shut down for me at least once tonight, I'm sure. What's up, Kyle Coonley, my brother from another mother? Good to see you, dude. I know what I can do that I used to do all the time, and I've still got my favorite song queued up. I have some background music. Let me turn it way down and see if this bothers y'all. I go down to 9, and I put it on my favorite, and that just kind of sets the tone. We're laid back, talk about knives, find out who, if anybody's going to Blade Show, find out if there's going to be a chance to awesome, buddy. Whenever you're free, whenever it's good for you. I just woke up and I'm going to open coffee. Starbucks white chocolate energy is the one evening energy drink I'll drink in the morning, or for me, it's the afternoon. When I go to Knives and More, I usually get a white peach Red Bull, usually 2 because they're 2 for $6. I don't always drink both of them. But I find if you drink them quickly, which I used to let them linger, and then you're really not getting the effects. But if you knock the ass out of it, it'll kind of give you a little bit of a pick-me-up, followed by a crash. Yeah, that's the way it goes. But I did get a couple of interesting things in. I got a huge box from CountyCom. And I've got several things in there because I'll do a breakout. I did an unboxing that just kind of showed the stuff. But they're doing a couple of knives. I thought this was the M90, but this is not. This is one of their little Meritech knives. It reminds me, it's kind of got vibes of a Kaiser that had no scales. And this little guy's a budget knife, an N690, little fixie. But they also have one that was sold out that comes with about 3 sets of G10 scales. It's got a small footprint like this, and it's an M390, a Meritech. So Meritech makes all the lights and the little gadgets. This thing's a substantial little magnetic lantern that you can put on a tripod. You can stick it to anything. It's got multiple brightnesses. It runs forever, but Meritech does all their government overruns. So I'm sure this is an imported knife, but it's a beast of a knife. It's a big knife. And if I'm not mistaken, I'll have to check it, but I think it's VG10. And it's got these just canvas, waxy micarta handles and a titanium clip. And it cuts very well. I mean, is it my style? Not necessarily, but it's a big handful knife like you would find at Meritech. And what I've always liked about them and why I've always been a customer long before I had a channel is they have so many just like wanky doodle tools, like this little breacher bar that I guess you can pop nails with. You can pop into a window. You can do whatever you need. I've got a small one that I got on my last unboxing, and I use this same thing. It's got the same, a different number, but these are made for different robotics units and stuff like that. But this little guy is fantastic for popping my scales off. If I get, when I'm doing my knife disassemblies, I find this little tool has been pretty helpful. It is titanium, so it will scratch your stuff up if you're not careful. But if I really needed to get somewhere delicate, I could always put blue tape over it. But my little mini breacher bar will probably come in more handy than my big breacher bar. And then I got a pretty cool little hammer that I don't think I'll ever use. It's one of those low impact kind of hammers that, you know, have a plastic head. You can switch it around and have a iron or titanium head and then a softer copper head. I think I've seen them in pew installations when people are putting pews together. I think that's probably what it's mostly used for. I don't have it over here, but CountyCom has some cool stuff. They sent a little light, just a little cool, get it done light. I unfortunately have gotten off on the lights that Kyle talks about, that my buddy Tate hooked me up with. For example, I've got my 18650 one here, and it's been blinking for about a week. I've got it on this little, when the light's not on, I just got it going through and cycling colors and doing a low and a high beam flash. And I've got it upside down so I can see it at night if I need to grab it, because it's just kind of flickering, kind of like a candle, real light candle. And like the one I've got in my pocket now is a smaller version, single channel, but it uses this Andula 2 software that I used to think would be way too hard to understand, but it's not. It's very intuitive. For example, if I want to do a voltage check, batteries are 4.3 when they're charged up. So I click it 3 times and then I count the flashes. Watch this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. It's a 4.1. So at a 4.3 volts, this is now registering at 4.1. And I've used it for a couple of days. It's got you can either have a smooth ramp, which I like, or you can have a stepped ramp where it clicks through the ramps. You can go in and you can customize the ramps. You can set it to do anything you want it to. If I want it to be different color lights, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now it's going to cycle through all the different LEDs, and you can do some different rainbow stuff. Then it's going to come back around to the color. And I like this dark blue right there. So now it's set my secondary LEDs to blue. And now they're flashing blue instead of rainbow colors and the little buttons blue. But these lights start out at $35. A $7 battery. I wish I'd gotten the tritium tail cap. They don't make it for this model, but you can get a tritium tail cap, a heavy duty cap with a tritium vial in it, and you can choose the color of live tritium that you want in the vial, and it's under $20 for the cap. So you can build one out. Aries EDC, what is up, Scott? Good to see you, brother. I carried in Paul Mills, the gifter. I carried my little pedal day before yesterday, and I rarely carry on my in an appendix. I do. I carry my chickadees. I carry about 3 or 4 knives, but I'm always like today. I'm loving this knife. I'm carrying my Olive Knives Inari, which is just a little simple, fully geмкed EDC knife with their version of a Fibonacci grind, which just has, it slices through materials. I guess the thought is to keep materials from sticking when you're cutting through it. I don't notice any drag that it creates. I'm sure if this, it does something, but it's just a thin USA made L-Max blade. And what I love about it is the sheath. Out of all the sheaths, even the ones that come for pocket droppers, this sheath is designed around being a pocket sheath. So that's actually the top of the sheath where you've got the heel of the knife exposed. So when you put this in your front right pocket or you put it in your back pocket, it's an in-pocket carry. It's very easy to draw. About the same size as my Mako, which is probably my favorite little go-to EDC knife now. Even though I love the Minnow too, the Mako is just a great size. And the Olive Knives is a great size too. It's a good bit more expensive. And I don't know if that's the L-Max. I don't know why. What's the price driver in this? But I did a blade battle between it and my beloved Mako. And the Mako, it was close when you just compare it on variables like materials, like fit and finish. I had to give them a draw and fit and finish because they both, the grinds were even, the scales were both on tight, everything was, square. But when it comes to value, this knife's nearly over $100 less than the Olive. Not to take anything away from or say that the Olive knive's not worth every single penny. There's just knives that have different. The Olive, for example, has full jimping and it's L-Max. And I don't know, the cost of tea in China, but I know on the other side you've got Wax Wing, who drops knives every Friday, and he's around the $130 mark for a USA made small batch, great little EDC cutter knife. And again, when the young couple came in and we talked about bushcrafting, am I wrong? But when I think of bushcrafting, I think of kind of an extreme camping where you're making the camping shelter. You're going out there and you're taking the shit that's in the woods and you're cutting down trees to make your shelter and you're making your fire dangler so you can hang your stuff. You're pretty much looking for a knife that'll cut all that stuff, right? It does, Angry Tom. It's just got I love, and some people, I don't think Shane's a fan. Somebody who held it's not a fan. I love the bulbous handle. The bulbous handle to me just makes the knife fatigue-free and very comfortable. Where I love the Olive. The Olive Inari is one of my favorite knives. But the handle's much more neutral, and you can feel it, or the lack of feeling it. Whereas that bubble just kind of fills your hand. And I like it. I'm a fan. Cliff, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Welcome. Happy Friday to you. The last scheduled Friday Night Flicks before Blade Show, which is next weekend. And I'm starting to take a list to try to figure out strategically the booths that I definitely want to see. Because I'm not going to buy anything. I just want to go film my buddies like Casey Lynch. I always go by and see his booth. I like to see my buddy Carry Development. I will find Dustin Driver. He's got a small 10 by 10 booth, but he's a fantastic guy and a great knife maker. And I like to show his stuff. I'm going to try to do this Friday before everybody's sold out. And I'm going to go see Colin McGuire, Mag 10 Knife Works. I've got to write all these down so I don't miss anybody. And then several others. Because what I want to do is do a little where I piece together one day where I'm going around just real quickly, 5-10 minute booth overviews, probably more like 5 to 7 minutes, just showing you guys a booth, not necessarily engaging because they're usually so busy, but just showing you guys what I'm seeing at the show, the booths that I want to visit, and then do some walkthrough footage and edit it all together. It won't be the greatest content for sure coming out of Blade Show, but I hope to show y'all some cool stuff that I'm excited about seeing. And then I want to have a day because for me, Blade Show is all about seeing people. It's all about hanging out with people. And I don't want to be behind a camera. I thought it'd be fun to go live, but I can't stay live and stay focused in a quiet room when I'm trying to do a stream, much less walking around a convention center. I can't imagine being very effective at that. I'll probably get punched by somebody, and then I'll have to put a couple of freedom pills in them. So I'll feel like my life's threatened. In Georgia, I probably have to really pull that out of all the stops. But a company that I'm very impressed with, and I don't have an affiliate link with them. I have a link that has my name on it because I wanted them to be able to track my traffic that I sent. But it's a company called Molesect. I don't have the budget knife here. Molesect reached out to me about 4 months ago and wanted me to review one of their budget knives called the Shuttle. And I reviewed it. It's not my jam because it's kind of got a trailing point, but it's titanium, bar lock, 14C, wonderful action, perfectly centered, titanium clip. Very nice knife. It seems much more than a $70 knife. Well, they've got two series. They've got a Pathfinder series and their Thinker series. And their Thinker series are more bougie, but the price point is still just tripping over 200, just barely. And these are thick like my Evo. Titanium, this one's got gold flake, fat carbon fiber, frame lock, multi-deployments. So this is S35VN. That's how they keep their costs down. They have other blade steels too, but it's got a great front flipper. This is called the Mantle. Finger holds, great detent. I mean, there's no late. A detent ball is just, you just get it started and it just closes. But it's a handful knife. It's not that thin bug out or an imported feel. It doesn't feel like a, no offense, concept, but it doesn't feel like a, it's kind of beastly. And I was really stoked they sent, I don't know if they're going to be at Blade Show or not. I don't see a lot of ads from them. I do see some Instagram posts, and I've been trying to share this. The video, I've not filmed a review on this. I filmed an unboxing, but I've been carrying it. The clip is next level awesome. If you like a clip that works very well, it's a split titanium clip, which kind of works like a wire clip. Paul Mills has been a member for 34 months. Guys, that's almost 3 years. Paul has been with me since, I think, the start. Dude, that's awesome, man. I appreciate you, Paul, on more levels than just being a channel member and a viewer and a member. Here you go, brother. Keep your eyes open for Molesect or Molesec knives. Molesec knives. I'll show you real quick. I'm gonna go to their website. I don't know if they sell through any dealers. And I know they're just another Chinese company, but they're doing a good job, in my opinion. This is the Mantle right here. But if we go to their products, they've got a Pathfinder series, which are their budget knives. And this is the one I reviewed right here. $78. It is a nice knife. 14C, 28N, crossbar lock. I'm not crazy about the blade shape, but it's quality. Hardware's quality. I did not take it apart yet. I am holding on to it. I haven't given it away yet because I do plan on taking it apart because I'm very interested in this company. So if you go, you can search by blade steel. Let's do that. Why does it not let me do that now? All right, let's go to the Thinker series because that's the more bougie series. So the Mantle's the one I've got. They've got a knife called the Attack, which looks similar. And I don't know if these are collaborations. I know they've got a hook on that. I don't know if it's a wave function. I don't know why that hooks in the blade. But you got that. That's a little different. And then they've got this little dart looking thing, the loop. It's an N690. It's $120. Probably a liner lock, I'm guessing. Where's it? But they're fresh designs. They don't look like anything. Let's see what they've got in S90V. So they've got the 808 Decay and S90V for $165. Frame lock. Whoop. Again, they may be tomorrow determined to be the biggest bunch of. I've just not had anything but very good interactions with the young guy that I think is the owner. So let's go to N690 SLV Magic 14C S35. So S35 and S90 are their high-end steels. So there's a knife in SLV Magic, which I've seen more and more of lately. Let's go to S35. See, they don't have a lot of designs yet. The 808 Sustain, which also comes in they probably got five different knife designs. So they're a new company, Molesect. And I'm glad that they reached out with me and let me try a budget knife. And when I asked, they let me try a Thinker. I hope they let me try something else. I really think they've got a lot to offer. I look at value, right? I love bougie knives. I won't carry. It's not because I'm a snob. I'm not. I love a value knife. Some of the Kaisers that you're going to see in my unboxing on June 1st, because I can't release them till June 1st, I am going to show you a couple of freaking cool fixed blades because I don't think they're watching. But I love a banging knife. I carry banging knives. I use banging knives. It's an addiction, right? Knives. I started with Civivis, started with Sincuts, had a whole case of Kaisers. But when it comes down to it, when I review a lot of knives, I still get excited when I see a budget knife that punches above its weight. Or I see Joe Isabella, my spiritual Sherpa. What's up, all you beautiful people? Much love to you, my friend. I got to get to my media assets. Isabella's eclipsed the 3 trips around the sun, people. Subscribe to my channel. He's been around the sun 3 times with me. That's amazing, dude. Thank you. Again, not to shield because I have no affiliation with this company, except they sent me this to review because they said, would you be interested? Look through our catalog and tell us what you think. And I'm like, well, I'm not a multi-tool guy, but I like scissors. And they said, check out our Flexi Tool shears. Well, then I checked out the whole thing about their Flexi tools, where you can go on their website and for $5 to $9, you can buy any implement you want. So this Flexi shears comes with three spaces for 3 tools. I've got it set up with a box cutter. I've got it set up with a ruler and a awl, I think. But I can, what my point is, I can set it up with many. So I can go like this and I can take this tool out and switch it. I've got I don't think I have the box close, but I can switch this out with another multi-tool. So what I think was cool about it was the way that it's engineered, because in the unboxing, I could not get the individual implements because it comes with one extra implement and one extra blade, because it's got the most interesting way that they package them. Just really, would I use this probably in my bug out bag if I needed to cut something? Was I surprised by it? Yeah, because I actually like this knife. If you don't like a drop point, you can get a totally different blade. You can get a sheep's foot blade. I even got one of my small implements as a little spay blade. And they're nice as steel right now. And that's one of the feedbacks I got them was it'd be cool if you made some blades and more premium materials and offered your scales, because this is the other thing you can do. If I wanted to change that blade out, I don't need tools. Watch this. The bearings are built into the liner. It's built into the scale. Here's the blade. And it has a box that it goes right into so you can put it in your bug out bag. Want to put it back in, just set it in here. Make sure I get it pushed down. I always let the liner lock, open it up. Whoop. Right. Then I'm going to take my scale. It's got the bearing built into it. Pop it on. Uh-oh. Duh. I had it upside down. So I get my scales on, and then I hit my little switch. Bink. Bink. And if I want to go in and adjust the detent, you just take a T8, which they supply, even though everybody has a T8, and you can adjust the tools and you can adjust the blade. I think it's a cool implement. Would I carry it? Probably not, but I'd keep it in my bug out bag. Sierra Rick, what's up? Let me show you what's been the most exciting thing that I've added to my EDC. Y'all are going to laugh. Anybody know what that is? That is a Blackwing pencil. Made in Europe. Removable erasers. They're kind of old and historical. They're way too expensive. Writers supposedly used them. Artists throughout time. I think they quit making them in Germany maybe like in the 60s, and another company made them in the tradition. They're made out of cedar, and different, like 4 different lead hardnesses. Like 12 of them are $34 on Amazon. But I love them. I get the pearl, which is the second to the darkest, and then I get the matte, which is the darkest, and they write great. They sharpen fantastic. They have their own little sharpener that you can get. I've turned into a pencil snob. I have to do a review on them. They really are that cool. And then I've been getting, because I've always been a field notes guy, but have you ever seen the white pages? This is this is smaller than a field notes. Came with a little leather binder. I got a pencil holder, and then I put a rubber band around it, and I can keep that in my back pocket. Not that I ever do, because I keep a knife in my back pocket. But there's so much stuff you can EDC, because it can be a disease, and I enjoy it. I really do. My pencils, I have to thank Gary Creeley for the suggestion. I've always liked writing. I always was a mechanical pencil guy. 'Cause I didn't like to sharpen pencils, but they make a couple of different sharpeners, and they're not the only ones that make them. Y'all have probably seen these sharpeners. A lot of European pencils use these, where they have two holes for the number 2 pencil. The first hole, you put the pencil in and you turn it by hand, and it cuts the wood in the right cone shape away from the lead. So when you take it out of that hole, the lead's still perfectly round like lead, but you cut the wood away from it. Then you put it in the second hole and it shapes the lead. So it sharpens them in 2 different phases. And it does a great job. It's really sharp points. I've been a huge fan. I have to be straight with you there. I've been writing a lot with pencils because I have to write a lot to come up with what I'm going to record for the next week. Because I've got videos right now through, I think I have them through the 4th, which is not even. I had to release my Kaiser video, which I'm going to show y'all 2 fixed blades here in 2 seconds. I have videos right now recorded through the 4th of June. So I need to have videos recorded out through the 8th or 9th, ideally the 9th. I need to have videos out by the 9th. So that means I need only 4 or 5 more videos. I've got the content, I think. I want to show you the cool one first, and y'all didn't see this till January 1st, but the second one is a chef's kiss, and I'll show you why. Y'all remember the Momo and the Mini Momo from Kaiser? This is the Momo Fix. The Momo Fix 3. Got jimping here on the G10 that goes into the McCurdy wood, and it has jimping here. This one's Damascus. You can also get it in, I think it's S35 or 14C, anywhere from 65 to I think 119 in S35. That's the sweet one. The coolest one, you're going to look at the handle and you're going to think, this sucks. What I want y'all to think about is if you remember the old Hinder slicer profiles on the blade. This is called the Abrams. This one's 3V and rich light with carbon weave. I want you to look at the grind. See that diagonal line? At a very strong tip, but very slicey. This is 3V. I love the hardware. I have not taken it apart yet, but it's really deep T8 hardware, so these scales should come off. This blue handle, DLC Ultra blade, and they also make this in an AEBL version for about $65. This is called the Abrams. The handle looks very blocky, but it's surprisingly ergonomic. And the blade, to me, reminds me of an old Hinder slicer blade, and it is super slicey. I thought they upped their game. I was stoked. They did come with the, if y'all need these, JavonKnifeFlicks@gmails.com. If anyone needs a tech lock to put on the back of any of their EDC fixed blades to carry them comfortably on their belt, either horizontally or vertically, I have a surplus of them. I take them off every knife I get, except for camp knives. I will wear one on a camp knife if I'm wearing my belt. But I will always put an either 2.2. This is an Ulti-Clip 2.2. If you buy these on Amazon, they're tricky. You need to make sure your grommets are close together at top. And since Kaiser's been adding that little embossed too, that little retention clip that's supposed to tighten up the sheath, it's close enough to the top grommet that these work. These don't work on 80%, 85% of my knives. The Ulti-Clip 3.3 is what you want. The 3.3 is this one right here. Same thickness. This might not be a slim. Hold on. That's a 3.3, but it's a slim. Here's a 3.3 slim. 3.3 slim is just like the 2.2 slim, except it's got channels instead of holes. So you got a lot more flexibility into where you can mount this. This is also a fantastic EDC knife. This is the TKL Scout. Sheep's foot, flat ground, CTS, XHP. Super slicey. The sliciest TKL I've owned. They're usually more pokey stabby. This one's a very nice grind. And then there are those of you who want to get in line when Edgy gets back from Blade Works or Blade Show and get a fret. A fret Gen 1 small EDC knife that I use, at least carry it 3 times a week. I have to carry other knives other days because some knives that stick up, and I can work with a lot of them, but there's certain knives that I won't carry in my back pocket that I have to carry in my front right pocket. None of these are them. All of these work fine. This one does stick up a little high in the back, which it is more likely to catch a seat than this one that sits very low. You can see how low that one sits compared to that. And then there's the couple of knives that are just too long to fit my back pocket to where the clips. What's up, brother? YouTube Music Portal, what's up? Have I missed anybody? The minnow is dynamite. I've got one minnow that I'm carrying real deep where I have to like go in my back pocket, hit the thumb release. That's my Magna Cut minnow. Again, has the bulbous. I went with the G10 or the 3D printed scales. Bugsy went with the G10 scales. He likes the weight. I like the lightness. And then on my Magnamax, TKL sheaths and Gary sheaths, I think, come from the same USA manufacturer. And they have these little slots cut into them, which allow you to mount the 2.2 or some of the discrete carry clips, which are my favorite clips. But the sheath almost needs to be made knowing that you're going to put a discrete carry clip on it. I'll show you what I mean. This is one of Gary's, or like a TKL sheath, and you'll see it has the slats cut in the Kydex, which allows you to take this deep concealment carry clip, which you can buy this in about 38 different designs. You just go to their page and you look at where your screw layout is, because these screws are straight through. There's no channel. There's no wiggle room. But this has no mechanical latch, and it doesn't need it because this is such springy metal. And you've got the claw that goes up into your clothes right here, and it locks in great on your hem. I love these clips most. And our buddy Andrew and David Mary Customs make all their sheaths, as does TKL on their leather sheaths, work for these sheaths or these clips. Because if you know you're going to use these clips, it's real easy. A, they're less expensive than an Ulti clip, especially if you're a sheath maker. And usually when you go to checkout at any of these companies, you get to choose which clip you want. Do you want an Ulti clip? Do you want a deep concealment clip? Or do you want a tech lock? All the ones that these guys sell will be USA made. But yeah, happy Fixed Blade Friday, people. Green clips that Darkwater makes. Use special filament and they're supposed to be very strong. No, but I'd love to see them, Kathleen. I'll pull it up in just a second. What I have seen for the first ever was this sheath by Luff Concepts. The sheath was made in Texas. The knife was made in Arizona. This sheath is 3D printed with an industrial polymer. It does not feel like Kydex. It's much more rigid. And it has fantastic retention. It has these channels that have screw holes, threads in them. And you can put the ulti-clip right hand or left hand carry. And it locks in. I don't know if you can hear this. Hear that click? It just clicks right in. And that's 3D printed, but it's great for somebody like me who back pockets carries because I'm not putting any pressure. The sheath's not moving. And the whole lower end's a channel where any moisture will wick. This guy was made in Arizona, and it's S45 BN acid etched, and it's been a great knife. I've got to determine which few I'm going to take to blade show. And this is another Molesec knife that is not on their website. This knife came to me in between the budget knife and the one I asked for. I have no idea how Molesec, I didn't have a conversation before they sent this one, so I had to research it on my own. I went to Amazon, and it's called the Molesec Soar, and I found it on Amazon for either 28 or 68 bucks. And what it is it's a very square titanium and carbon fiber frame lock that's recessed behind this carbon fiber right here with an S35VN blade that's stonewashed. Now, what this one has that the mantle doesn't is it has a late detent. So this is the detent ball right here. That's where the detent ball is. So you have to get right there before it'll drop. I was holding this. You have to get it right past there. Whoop, I didn't get it past. You got to get past there for it to drop. But that's not a big deal. That's like my Hinder or Jurassic. But it's got a nice clip. It's got nice action. It's got 2 forms of deployment. Your regular flipper tab. It's got really nice hardware. And it's not on their website. So I don't know. I'm learning about Molesec and plan to learn more. I learn so you don't have to. Where's Siobhan's Discord stream? You know what? I've got a Discord. I never go in there. I've got a Discord as a member perk, but that's before I did my Sunday giveaways. So I feel like people like the Sunday giveaways better than the Discord. Plus, I don't know how to use it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm tapped out on social media in terms of reacting to YouTube or Instagram messages. 50% of the strategic partnerships I have that I get knives from, TRM being one of them, like to communicate via Instagram. I might not get on Instagram for a week because I'm overwhelmed because I've got too many messages in there. I miss a lot of stuff because of that. It's part of it. It's anxiety is real, people. Now, if you guys like Discord, if you guys think that's something valuable and you can share to me, what I think it does is it emboldens clicks and it doesn't offer all inclusion. I don't understand it. I know it's another chat room, but I don't see why you couldn't do that in, a big group chat. I just don't understand it. I'm a boomer. I'm not a boomer. I'm actually not. I'm Generation X. Thank you. I did not have to film my childhood or my adolescence growing up, which is awesome. But yeah, we were talking about Whatnot and them getting people to sign up under them. I thought that was fascinating because I have so many, I think older people probably fall for it, but I have so many people come in, especially on Friday. I must have had 3 gentlemen come in today looking for deals on used case knives. They went over to the $10 box and the $25 box, and they spent way too much freaking time there. if I could videotape somebody rifling through this old dusty box with these fucking knives in it, it makes me literally, it's hard, man. It is hard. And I get back from Blade Show Monday. Tate, the young guy, goes in for major surgery at Vanderbilt on Wednesday. He'll be out for a month. I will be working at Knives and More from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day except Thursday and Sunday with John, the guy that it's just a matter, again, I'll be in a pretty power position with Tate, being out, but at the same time, I go in at 2:00, people, and work till 6. And it seems like a full day because I do YouTube. Most of the night I'm recording content. Most of the morning I started to get into my comments. I answer comments, not all of them. I let YouTube feed them to me. And I go through and I make sure all my videos are set to run. I go through everything I recorded the night before and I process it. So I'm pretty busy. I'm going to have to start taking a laptop to work with me if I'm going to do this, which I guess I've got to unless he fires me tomorrow. Well, I'm not there tomorrow. He'll have to fire me Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. But I don't know how I'm going to make that adjustment. I'm going to have to quit filming at night. I'm going to have to make myself go to bed at like midnight because I don't go to bed early anyway, maybe 1. And I'm going to have to sleep till like 7 or 8 o'clock, get up, take a shower, and go to Knives and More at 10 o'clock. And I was throwing it back to him. I was like, look, man, I can, to save you from having to put in so many hours into me, I can come in at noon and I can come in at 2 and just, be here to cover you. No, man, I'd rather it just be the same like when Tate's here. You just come on in. I was like, all right, whatever. I mean, it's going to be brutal for me only because I haven't done it in so many years. It seems like most people like me, when I used to be at work between 7:30 and 8 every day, fighting traffic to get there, getting up at 5:30, getting in the shower at 6. I used to be on a schedule that was totally different than what I've been on for the last 2.5 years. So this will be an adjustment for me. It's going to be, I'm not dreading it. I need to work. It'll make me sick if I do the math, so I can't do that. But it's going to be interesting to be at that store to see the morning rush. See, I've missed the mornings. I hear the mornings are when the case people really come out because they're early morning risers. They get up at 4 and they go have breakfast at Eunice's Country Kitchen and they talk about knives till about 6:37. And then they run down to the Shriners Hall or whatever the fuck they do till 10. And they show up at 9:30 and wait for the doors to open so they can come rifle through the fucking $10 box. I don't have to go through that because I'm usually not there. But I'm going to have to not only adjust to being a morning person, I'm going to have to be patient to these people. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a big adjustment for me to go from YouTube guy in the morning, knife guy in the afternoon, the knife guy at the store all day with the morning case people. It's going to be creepy. Where'd Gary go? I was just getting ready to add him and he came in and he left. All right. He'll come back. I've got those Marcos and I don't take them except when I need them. I try to take only my medication, like my ADHD medicine. I don't take on weekends because I'm not trying to focus my tasks as much. And I like to have breaks in it, but maybe it'll help me. I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to change my behavior and know that I go to bed at, say, 1 o'clock just to get used to it. But it's going to be different. How are you, Gary?
Good. How's it going?
It's going good. I wanted to apologize to you. I didn't get a chance to talk to everybody, but the delay, like last week, Shane would ask a question and he did not realize that it took time for you to hear his even question that he'd addressed you and he'd start talking again. And I know that gets confusing and that's his issue. Your signs look great, by the way. I love that post on Instagram, but there's this weird thing with StreamYard that, that it doesn't do it all the time, but I can say something to you and it might take 10 seconds for you to hear what I said. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Did you just hear it?
Yeah. So I paused a little bit before I responded, but yeah.
It was my fault for not
But
grabbing
now
it sooner, because Bugsy's got a whole nother issue where his gets knocked offline and he'll just think nobody can hear him, and we're talking and he can't hear us and he just starts talking. So I'm going to get it streamed out, because there were several times Tuesday that a great question was asked and you were getting ready to answer it. You were thinking about it and Shane came back with something else because he's got ADHD. He can't help himself. But if I just told him, you've got to give it 30 seconds, let Gary catch it, and he'll answer you. Not everybody just throws off the cuff and idles at a high RPM. But I apologize for that, because I know it must have been frustrating, because it was frustrating to me, because I could tell you just received it. You were getting ready to answer it and something else came from somewhere else. That was my fault.
No big deal. I don't sweat that sort of thing.
How's your production, getting ready, getting stuff in boxes, and how close are you from getting the stuff you need ready and in boxes where you can just breathe?
Well, it's always a matter of coming to grips with reality when it comes to going to Blade in terms of what you can bring. There's things I'd like to bring. I'm not going to bring as much as I wanted to. There's some handmade stuff, but I'm trying to bring as much Magnum Max as I can. I'm hoping to have 100 Makos, Magnum Max Makos. I am hoping to have then I'll have a handful, maybe a few bushcraft, maybe a couple of hunting knives, Magnum Max hunting knives. I have one chef's knife done, 8-inch.
You'll sell them so quickly.
And so I have a few things.
Well, it sounds like you've got plenty. Your
go ahead.
banners and the fact that you've got Magnum Max as a custom maker. I've got a list of about 15 booths, people that I know that I like to see, that I like to film. And I don't come by and talk to you and make you stop from what you're doing, because your job's to sell knives. I hang out in the background and I'll wave at you, and then I'll walk around with my gimbal. You can not even be there if you don't want to, but I like to cover certain booths. And I have a feeling if I don't get to your booth on Friday, you're not going to have knives by Saturday, Sunday. You're going to be an empty table.
I don't know. So I typically at Blade Show, I sell to real people. Because at the end of the show, dealers come and scoop stuff up. But to real regular people that are attending the show and buying knives for their own collection or whatnot, I usually sell 15 to 18 knives at Blade Show. So the fact that I'm going to have 100 Magnum Max Minnows, that would be a very, very exceptional year from what I have experienced in prior years. Now other guys do it. Magnum Max, that Magnum Max Mako, did I say Minnow? Mako is at $235. So that's at a price point where you're probably not going to find a lot of other Magnum Max necessarily. So that might be of interest. Small fixed blades are popular at the moment. So yeah,
and it's a fantastic design.
Yeah,
and you've got
and I have a couple. Yeah, I think people, and I'll have some Magna Cut as well. They're $210, and then I'll have a special with some LC200N, which will be a little less than $210, maybe 165 or something for a Mako and LC200N. So that'll be sort of like a show special, something like that.
I'm gonna.
So I have a lot of Makos. Yeah, and a little bit of everything else. So we'll see. So that would be an exciting show if I sold all 100. of those Magnamax, and I'll give one over to the Niagara. I won't give it to them, but I'll have one over at the Niagara table for them to display. So that might send some.
Are your
business my
banners
way.
going to be displayed at your booth, or are you going to have, does Laren have any of those out in the show hall? The ones
These will be
behind
just
you.
on my table.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah, those two will be on my table, on either end of the table. Yep, my son was the graphics department, so he put those together finally.
They look great. When I saw them on Instagram, I thought maybe they were going to be some of the ones that were out in the hall because they look so professional. He did a great job. And I would think that there's going to be some Magnamax there, but there's not going to be a lot of established people. ProTech will have the first, I guess, production run of Magnamax, and then you'll be there, someone who's worked with Magnamax through two companies that have worked with it. I mean, there are not going to be many people that know the steel and have had experience with the steel, I wouldn't think, like you. And that's going to be an advantage because people, I think, are going to gobble it up. I do feel that you'll be sold out by Sunday. No knives, maybe one or two of your.
Yeah, that would be a first.
Well, I think it can happen.
So, Dutch Bushcraft Knives has a Folklore in Magnamax. And so I talked to Martin this week, and he said either this weekend or maybe next weekend they're going to be testing the knife. Now, I'll be, the video will be great and everybody will want that, but I'm just very curious how it performs for them, and how it goes, how they like
how
it,
far they can push it. I mean, I know they're going to.
They were in part, yeah. They were one of the ones that was early to the show for Magna Cut, and when they did the Magna Cut Bushcraft video, I mean, people were ordering. I had pre-orders at that time. I won't at this time, but I think I might put like a little form on there and just say, leave your email if you're interested in one of these, and I'll let you know when I have some. But that blew up. I mean, it was like 100 knives pretty quickly that people wanted.
That can be, I'm sure, very stressful.
I think this will be similar. Oh, yeah. I'm just now finishing them up.
Well, and again, like you said,
I mean, it was meant.
Go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm going to pop out and back in again because it's delayed pretty bad. Maybe
okay,
I'll be right back.
Kyle, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
I was going to tell you, and I meant not you because it wasn't, but Shane, last week or Tuesday, there's such a delay between when Gary or Bugsy hear it, so they wouldn't even hear each other before somebody could answer. So I think it could be on Gary's side too, but we'll see. So just pause when you ask him a question. Know that he's waiting to hear it and answer it. He's not ignoring you.
See if this is any better. If it's not, maybe I'll reboot my computer.
Got you loud and clear.
Yeah, you sound clear. I know there's a timing delay, and I know you were about to say something about, and you stopped because you thought I was saying something because mine had just come through from earlier.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me. I don't remember.
But in either case, I'm going to walk by there.
Here's an interesting error. There is a delay. I wonder if it's my computer. Is Kyle having this? Is Kyle having the same issue?
No, Kyle and I are right online. Kyle can hear me, so see, he hadn't even heard it yet, Kyle.
I think it's. Yeah, I haven't rebooted my computer. I'm going to reboot my computer and come back.
We will be here, my friend. Kyle, what have you been grinding on? You said Shane had a box hit going his way. I meant to reach out to him today and never did. Yeah, my day got crazy.
Yeah, he's got that squared away, and then I've got one more that I was struggling with that I'm going to get out in first thing in the morning and gonna have to overnight it and get it there for him so he has it Monday.
Well, Monday's the soonest he's going to need it. I was hoping he'd come up today, and I know he's waiting because I've got to get him to Huntsville.
Yeah.
Probably no later than Tuesday, because I was telling Gary, and I forgot about this till today. Did he just come back in? I don't think he's booted
No.
down yet. No, there he goes. Okay. But the young guy,
What's up,
Tate,
YouTube?
YouTube, Tate's going to be out Wednesday. He's not coming back after Blade Show. He's traveling to Vanderbilt Wednesday for a huge procedure. He'll be out for a month. And I will be actually working the closest thing I've had to a real job since I got laid off. I'll be expected to be there at 10 o'clock in the morning, which is when I'm kind of stirring again, doing my YouTube comments, and 6 o'clock at night with John 5 days a week, off Thursday and off Sunday. How long you think I'll make that? I hope I can get through it, man. I think if I could just get started and make myself go to bed at night, that's going to be the hardest thing for me.
I think your best bet is just to try to get fired before Blade Show.
I tried that a little bit today, and I thought I've got 2 days to try to do it, but John's smart enough to know that he needs me. You know, I could probably literally go in there and, you know, do horrible things, and he'd probably find a way to talk to me and try to keep me around because he doesn't have a lot of options. He's going to close the weekend of Blade Show because he doesn't want to be there and try to feel the traffic alone, which to me is crazy because I've worked 3 people in there, couples simultaneously, and it's not like you're, you know, somebody's going, are you ever going to get over here? It doesn't work that way.
For someone who's so big on business, that sounds completely ignorant. When you're solo, you just ride it out and deal with it.
And he was solo for 7 years when he first started. I would think so. I would think it'd definitely be something to ride out, but I'm happy he's doing it. Whatever makes him feel better. How's that sound, Gary?
It sounds fine. Is my delay gone?
So far, it seems like it.
When I say Gary, you put your thumb up and you'll see how long it takes.
Okay.
Gary. All right, that's instantaneous.
You're spot on then.
Good. You know, I use a lot of heavy hitting programs, you know, like Photoshop with big images and AutoCAD and Fusion and slicers and Lightburn, and all these things get open and closed and open and closed. And I haven't rebooted my computer for, 2 weeks. So
Need to reset your PRAM probably.
Yeah, I just was all, whatever. So I think that was the issue.
Yeah, there's no crackle on your side at all, and hopefully you're able to hear us going through. But
yeah, I can hear you guys fine now.
So you're going to head out Wednesday, did you say?
Wednesday morning,
and then stay somewhere about a few hours outside of Atlanta Wednesday night.
Yeah, I'll probably try to get 8 or 9 hours of that trip in, and get the final 3 the next day, and get there midday. I don't like getting there first thing on Thursday. Everybody and our uncle's getting there and all lined up to get in. I get there mid-afternoon, early afternoon, and everybody's already in. There's no wait. There's no line.
Less chaos, yeah, I think with what you're carrying in and the help that you're going to have with you, it makes sense to come there when everybody that's bigger has already gotten in. Although they get in earlier in the week, right? Like the Hinders, the people that are building their booths.
I don't think so.
Oh, really? They start building on Thursday?
Thursday morning. Yeah. Yep.
That's how it used to be when we went to the Kitchen and Bath show every year up in Chicago or in Las Vegas or Orlando. We would have a 10 by 10 booth, but we would have cabinetry that we would have to put together there. But there would be companies there like Kohler and like the big cabinet companies, and they would start when we started. And if you didn't have your stuff covered, a forklift would likely knock the corner of your booth off if you weren't careful. I mean, it gets crazy in there, especially when it's just union people handling the materials.
This will probably be my last year of just a plain table. I'll probably go to a booth next year.
Have you been conceptualizing out what you want to have, how you want it to look, or what you want to be able to show?
Nope.
Is the table just? I mean, it sounds like a table's going to be tight this year. You're going to have knives behind the table.
Yeah, the tables have been tight for a number of years. Yeah, the table has been tight. Yeah, so next year it's time for a booth, I think.
What's up, Ryan?
What's up, guys?
Howdy, Ryan.
Gary, before I forget, I need to find out from you what if you're interested in maybe working out something for that Valdor. I don't know what you're looking for, but
Yeah.
if so, like I said, I might have you just chuck it in the car and have Ryan and Shane pick it up from you while they're at the shop or at the show.
Yeah, that's fine.
If that's possible. And if you're not wanting to move one, that's fine too, because I'm not in a hurry to get one, and I'm also not in a financial position to buy one at full price either. So
Aren't they like $900 now?
probably.
Insane.
What's
Yeah,
up,
I'll say
Chad?
one.
Everybody saying, hey, what's up? I
Everybody's
can't-
talking to Mr. Ellis. How's your elbow doing, buddy? I had a guy come in, Knives and More, with that exact structure on their arm, and I was waiting to see a nub at the bottom, but that he must have had an elbow surgery. Him and his daughter, they were going camping, so he was about to go out and be active. So that's how long do you wear that for?
I got it. I got to have it on for 6 more weeks.
So you'll have it at Blade Show.
Yeah. So I was supposed to have had it on the whole time, but I mean, it's very uncomfortable. So I take it off for a good bit. Hell, the other night when we were on, I forgot it at home. And by the end of the chat, boy, this thing was on fire. I think I told you.
And I'm sure your doctor would say this, and I'm not your dad, but I would tell you, the more you wear it, the less uncomfortable it's going to be. And if you don't wear it, you're going to regret it.
Yeah.
You need to make that a habit.
In the long run, it's actually a lot more comfortable. Like, it's definitely at Blade Show, I'll be on my feet all day, so it's hanging. And what it does, it keeps me from locking it out all the way. That's as far as it'll let it go. So I can hang it and it don't stay locked out. So by the end of the day, it's not hurting me. And then it blocks my movement this way too. So, and it wraps around my wrist, so I can't rotate my wrist.
Do you sleep with it? Are you supposed to sleep with it? I would think.
Actually, I can take it off when I'm sleeping, but I got to put a hand brace on to keep me from rotating my wrist and bending my wrist. I'm not supposed to bend my wrist back, like while it's rotated or a certain way or something like that.
Or
then
put too much pressure?
Yeah, it'll start pulling on the anchors that they put in back here on the back side of my elbow. So
you got to do the other elbow like that and then walk around Blade like this. Oh, God.
You can only do one at a time. You can't
Sure guys would do that anyway.
One
Yeah, I was
arm.
about to say, we're going to see a few of those. I'll be happy to introduce you to them.
They're usually wearing a kilt.
A few of those, and I know a guy who'll have a microphone on his lapel, and he'll be doing that. He'll be walking real fast too. I'm not saying any names.
I've been hearing some conversations about the knife world sales being way down. Is that something that's across the board that people are hearing? Is that a real thing? And
I think it is, and I don't know why. I've noticed sales and stuff like that. Knives are staying up on like Blade Binge and stuff like that a lot longer. eBay.
Well, the secondary.
Quick.
I'm sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
No, I was done.
I was going to say, I think the secondary dictates that, but I think that it's probably close to what pre-COVID numbers were, but the boom during that was so large that the market got oversaturated, and like the secondary, you literally can't sell anything on the secondary unless it's like 30-40% off what retail is. And like nothing except for a few like the big hitters, like potentially like Lamia's, Rosie's.
I know Evo Tate spent a lot for one of those last week.
Like Koenig's, like Arius's are considerably below table. I mean, they're like at $500 to $600 tops.
I've seen that, yeah.
Like Even like Enders were going
market, because the enthusiast market's different than the overall knife market. I only say that because we're tracking our best months that the store's ever seen, and it's continued to be as a positive grid. Our sales are continuing to increase in Benchmade, ProTech, Microtech, Case. I don't know why that is, but that's a retail location. That's not somebody that none of these people are influenced by influencers. Very few are ever on YouTube.
You have a market hold in that area, though, because you are the local shop that people can go to. A lot of places don't have that.
Right. And all I'm saying is they put one ad in the Rocket City Journal, which goes to all the places that are coming for Missile Command. So it gets some good circulation as far as a magazine ad does for their store. And maybe since they've been there for 20 years, they're able to sustain that. But they're saying it's not just the services like the sharpening or the lasering, it's the sales. The knife sales are up and have been. That's why they've moved just recently, last year, to their third biggest location in the same strip mall. So, and I see it too. I see that you can get good deals on the secondary. I see knives staying at DLT. Like, I think there are two or several Gavin Hawks there right now at DLT that are in stock that usually you don't see those last more than an hour or two.
Well, you look at some of this, like with Bark River going out, and I know their issues weren't simply market driven, but some of it probably was, though. I mean, when the market dips, sometimes some of these structural issues that are deeper within companies, shed knives, of course he says he's going gangbusters and he's his best sales, but yet he's going out of business. I don't know.
That doesn't make sense.
It would also make sense if the secondary is going to slow down anyway around Blade Show Atlanta. You would think. You got a lot of guys that are saving money.
A lot of people selling, though.
Yeah,
a lot of people liquidating to get
the
money for new stuff.
the seller on the seller side gets flooded.
And a lot of people that don't go to Blade
a lot of people stop buying because they're saving their money. So the secondary market's going to dip, I feel like.
Well, but in reality, Ryan, the number of people going to Blade Show is so small compared to the people looking to buy those knives that those people going to Blade Show are trying to sell. I think it's a pretty brisk time for certain knives right now.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing really that outside of a handful of production knives and customs that are going for anywhere near table. Everything is considerably dipped. Like you can get a basic Hinder, $4.25 as table. You can get those for $300 all day long, unused.
It's not dipped. It's Spyderco's Rex 121.
Yeah, they are. On the used market, you can get those. Remember what they came out for? So like the Sage was $250 for the lightweight and $300 for the G10 when it first came out.
All right.
You can get those at that or below those prices, and now Spyderco's jumped them by over $100.
Where is that now? This one is they just hit Blade HQ. I saw today this Rex 121. The smock is $421, and I know that we buy Spyderco's, and they are only going up in price. Kershaw's probably went up the most, but look at that ugly burnt orange Rex 121.
Crazy?
Why did they do that with the 121? Sorry, Kyle. They use that color. That color is so ugly.
Well, they do it to the color code for certain steels. So like all steels will be one color.
Rex
All
70
Max met was that nasty gray.
Do they even make can you even find scales for that?
Yeah.
I mean, I like that blade.
Yeah,
I really like that blade.
So what's funny, John, is yesterday or Wednesday, I think, St. Nick's just dropped an exclusive 4V smock. And it was $2.25, I think. So almost half price of that in 4V.
Yep. And that's about the price of the S30. And I can tell you about St. Nick's because they're a local shop. They're in Athens. They used to be in Huntsville too. They've changed their name at their main location to Winter Sports or something sporting goods. And they're selling they've got a huge armory section that they used to not have. And they've got a huge camping and lifestyle, women's clothes, men's hiking clothes. They still have a lot of Chris Reeves. If anybody's looking for a Chris Reeve, call. I don't know if they've got them all online, but I would call St. Nick's because they've got a buttload of them. But my understanding is from inside the industry, they're having a really hard time selling knives, and they're not even really thought of except for the exclusives. And, maybe that had something to play in it because I don't think their head's in the game when it comes to knife sales, which is disheartening to me because that's a store that actually got Tate in the business into buying knives. It got me in during COVID. And I always stayed familiar with knives through that store because it was located at my mall when I would take my daughter to the mall.
Well, St. Nick's is always the best when it comes to exclusives as far as pricing. So like St. Nick's had the denim micarta Rec 76 Shaman was an exclusive, and they sold that at like $225 or $235. So but like if you look at Blade HQ's Shamans, like an S30 is that much, if not more. So they never have tried to flood the market or take advantage of the market, I should say, with their exclusives. They've always been very fair in their pricing.
Freight and Lock has that Techno, and that's about the same price as a standard Techno.
Yeah, they do. I was going to say Freight and Lock and St. Nick's are probably the two most fair
timber
when it comes to.
That's the store now.
Pricing.
Yeah.
So.
And the store behind them is actually just an extension of that store. And let me tell you something. I went in there not long ago, and I was extremely disappointed.
They have very few knives compared to what they used to. They used to have 4 locations, and most of these are going to be sold out. So
they did have they had a lot of Chris Reeves, but they had more Spyderco than anything.
What's up, Todd? Sure. What's up, Louie?
They were always really heavy on Spyderco, so they've got Techno 3, Spy
Going
Nano.
Back to Chris Reeve, though, John, Chris Reeves are selling for way below table, and they're plentiful. You can get them all over the place.
I think you're right.
You can get a large Sabenza for $400 to the very high end $450.
So to Todd Carr's point where he was, saying Bark River's problems were a long time coming. Well, that's true. However, in addition to the problems being a long time coming, when you get these dips in the market, like take Bernie Madoff, for instance, without the dip in the market in 2008 or whenever that was, he would not have been exposed the way in which he was. So a dip in a market sometimes exposes companies that are, already kind of on the edge and struggling. So
you're right, Gary. And I follow the secondary quite a bit, and you see a lot of trends with that, and that has been on a downward spiral for a year and a half at least. So a lot of these big name brands, when they start going really, really low in the secondary, is when you start seeing them sit idle on the shelves as well too. And like your Hinderers, your CRKs, like 2 years ago, you wouldn't see a CRK or a Hinder at USA Blade or DLT sit for more than a day. It'd be gone.
Or more than an afternoon. Yeah, because I would watch them. That's when I was actively buying them. I had to be kind of on the ball.
And now they're plentiful everywhere.
And I think part of what has happened with certain manufacturers, a good example of this would probably be Benchmade, is they're like, oh, well, the gravy train's going to run forever. And, we're going to jack our prices up. Another interesting thing, just listening to different podcasts and stuff that I do, ProTech. Now, granted, I want to get 1 or 2 ProTechs myself, but the ProTech said they're bringing more knives this year than they ever have.
And
now, during those COVID years, midday Saturday, they were out.
There's something to be said too for that theory of always leave them wanting and not over flooding the market and saying like, we had our record selling year. We're going to make 20% more this year and hope they sell. Sometimes it's not a bad theory just to keep it at where you're at, sell out, make your money, and not have it look like your stuff's just sitting around. But then you got to discount it on the back end.
Well, like with COVID, there were these years of really astronomical sales.
Right.
So if you're a business, you're going to ramp up your business to try to meet that demand. And then when that demand's not there anymore and you're at, a particular production level, now what?
Sometimes slow and steady wins that race, though.
It does,
like you've invested in capital that needs to be running.
Like Montana. They really built out a lot of capacity, and they're selling a knife about the size of my Mako in 52-100 for $300.
Right.
It's crazy.
But so here's the thing, like I agree that it's not always about what's better, but it's about what is promoted and hyped, and they got the hype train. They got the hype train behind them.
It's about what people think is better.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They went on the right scenarios. They promoted the right way as far as their branding and their background, their history, and all that, and they got people to buy in. There are a handful of Chinese OEM USA made or USA companies that I can sit here and right off the top of my head. They're the same way. Their knives aren't shit, but they're hyped the right way. They got the right people marketing them, and they sell.
Right back. Yeah.
So it's
I'm trying to count pages. I thought I had 10 pages. I've actually got 7 pages of Chris Reeve knives at St. Nick's. If anyone's looking, there are 5 pages of all different right hand, left hand, sheep's foot.
Kathleen, if you're in here, give me a thumbs up. I want to ask you a question if you're still here, but let me know if you're still in here. Well, it looks like it's not nearly as bad as I thought it was earlier, but we had people all over the place. Hang on a second.
Take your time, brother.
Not you, Terry.
Hey, is anybody else just unusually excited about this year's Blade Show?
No,
I'm not.
I am. Like, I'm more excited about it this year than I was last year. Last year was my first year.
Well, last year you didn't know what to expect. This year this year will be.
I can't wait till we leave. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready to do it right now.
Well, when I get in the truck, because I've still got to get my list of people I've got to go Friday and film. It'll be a short list, but I've still got things I've got to get in place. And I always go scramble brain with my ADHD trying to get ready for anything. But I'm really going to enjoy it. I'm stoked. And I'm not planning on doing any live streams from there. Well, the only thing, depending on where we are Friday night flicks, we might throw something together, but probably not. It'll probably be off next weekend because we'll probably be somewhere. And then Ryan, we've got Saturday night. If y'all want to go, I'm going to +2 y'all. Did you see my message in Instagram?
I did not.
They messaged me today and said I hadn't replied. Let them know what I was going to be. So I'm going to say it's going to be me +2, my significant other and my son. And I said, you and Shane are going to have to draw stars to see who's my significant other and who's my son. I think I'd rather have you as my significant other.
Shane's already got that in the locked down, buddy.
I know. He did fondle me.
You and him are already romantic. So
you could ride Shane in with a backpack.
I'd ask Tate about it. The guy I work with, the young guy who's 25. And at first he was kind of interested because he wants to learn more about Kaiser because we get a lot in on trade. And I told him who the crowd was, and he backed up, man. He 180'd in a quick way. He's like, no. I was like, but you'll get to meet Ray. You'll get to meet Tri-State without his voice changer, which is always kind of jolting to people.
Sierra, you just, damn it, just took it off. Where's that?
What did I take off? I'm sorry.
All right. Sierra, their marketing is top notch, but their products aren't. But it's just a matter of they're selling the
lifestyle, the hype.
Well, no, they're selling their story as former operators, and they got that community behind them. And a lot of those people don't necessarily care about the performance. It's more about supporting individuals, which is fine.
Right.
But it's just being sold as something that, it's not the best that they can buy. But to be fair, neither's a Winkler. Winklers are cool, but they're not the greatest performance tools. But they're awesome as far as looks and how they've been promoted. But
yeah, I mean it's really hard to say when you look at they've at least got you think you're buying into where our freedom's based on, whereas James Brand is really selling more the lifestyle. I don't know how successful they are, but I know their pricing. We've got a James Brand sleep joint sitting next to a Kaiser slip joint that I traded. Both of them are Damascus. One of them $79. The other one's $299. And they don't look like they're $200 apart in price. The James Brand's been sitting there, but so has the Kaiser. But I just don't understand because I don't see the value in their construction.
They both suck.
That Evo 4.0, that small Evo that's black, where they've got, I don't know if they use hard sandpaper or a brush to get that kind of barky looking titanium.
No,
DLC
it's a bark finish. It's actually, it's milled in there like that.
So, but so if you sandblast it, or not sandblast it, yes, if you blast it to get the scratches off, Tate says it'll take that finish off. It'll be smooth again, and he doesn't know how to make it.
No, not unless you blast the ever living shit out of it. Because
he wouldn't blast the ever living shit out of it. He was talking about he could orange peel it, but I said, Tate, I think it's steeper than that.
Yeah, it's not a look. It's an actual milling in there. Because Ryan's got his 3.0 is barked, and that's not surface level. That's below the surface level.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. And that's a perfect size. That 4.0 is just chef's kiss.
I like the 3.0 better.
Is it too small for you, the 4.0, or is it just not?
I just like the 3.0. I mean, the 3.0 that Ryan's got was mine.
And you got a 3.0 and a 4.0, right, Ryan?
Yes.
Which one do you like better in your hand?
Whichever one the smaller one is. I can't keep them straight.
The 4 is that makes sense.
4 is a small one. So I like it better. But I knew this was going to happen. I got them both because I wanted to see which one I wanted. And now I want them both. So, but now the smaller one is more carryable. It still takes up a lot of real estate in your pocket. It's still heavy. But
I like my knives.
So
if I had to pick all over again, I would instead of the 3.0, I would want the 1.1, and then I would want the 4.0 and the Tanto.
Wait, they got a Tanto in there?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I don't think it looks as good. I don't think it's as sexy as the drop point, personally, or the clip point, whatever you want to call that one.
I love the Tanto.
The Tanto is pretty sick.
It is sick. I'm not taking. I just don't think it's as sick. I think part of the beauty of the Evo are those sexy lines.
I don't disagree. The issue is, for me, the pricing of the Evo doesn't make sense for a Chinese knife. And if you could pick one up on the secondary, like what Ryan did for, a reasonable price, it's easier to swap. Yeah, you did. It was fair. It was fair on both sides.
Yeah.
There's a Tanto, Ryan.
How do you not like that, John? That is sexy.
I didn't say I don't like it. I don't think it's as sexy.
He just kicked himself out trying to get rid of the screen.
Hey, am I the only one that's getting a little bit of lag? Or is everybody else getting it too?
I don't have it.
One day I'll learn to work StreamYard.
Well,
Doubtful.
I'm on hotel Wi-Fi, so.
Well, look, I don't know if you can hear the rain. I'm hardwired in, but it's storming like crazy here. So I'm not rage quitting if for some reason my power goes out.
I figured you just did what you normally do, just click off the wrong thing. We're just
I
lucky.
did that time.
We're
I
just
went
lucky
back.
you didn't end the stream.
I was trying to pull a regular Evo next to it and get the chat's input on which one was actually sexier.
I do too, Sierra. I think I like them a lot. And when I first got in, I didn't. They grew on me, and now I almost prefer a Tanto.
Yeah, I love Tantos.
Is your Strider a drop point or is it a Tanto?
Drop point.
You know, I've got a silver matching Tanto at the store. It's just like yours, except it's raw titanium instead of black, and it's a Tanto. It's got the flag and everything.
That's what you said. That's over $1,000.
Well, I think it's listed for $1,095, but you can not, you know, you don't have to pay that for it. You can tell Tate what it's worth to you. You know, he didn't buy it for that.
I know.
You just
I
got
don't
the
think
trick
anybody
is.
else is gonna buy it for that either.
Well, you'd be surprised, dude.
Really?
The people that go in there, yeah, we sold. I did a review on the, and this is just me being stupid, but I did a review on the,
That's sick. Kyle.
the what was it called? It was the SE Sincilio, which is a little MagnaCut small SE fixed blade. And at Blade HQ, it's like $169 on sale. We had it on for $239, or the orange prices we had on it. So after I reviewed it, I said, just so you guys know, I put a video out. The Blade HQ price is this, because I always drop my affiliate link in there too. And you might get calls, and he goes, oh, we'll match the price, but people won't call. I said, okay, we'll see. And they didn't. We've sold 2 of those knives since then for $239. They didn't have to drop it once.
You know, there's also, I catch myself doing it too. I'll overpay sometimes too, just because it's there in my hands. You know, it's like a bird in the hand work through in the bush type thing. It's like, so, I mean, I get it, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, a knife's worth what somebody's going to pay for it, regardless of what it is.
Right.
You know, so. But like I said, like just because I'm sitting there holding it in my hand, I like it. I'm just going to go ahead and take it home. I'll pay another $20, $30 for it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and there's some people. I had one today who was looking for a specific knife, and I asked him, listed off a couple of websites because him and his wife and 2 kids were going camping, where he could get it. He goes, well, I really don't like to do business with websites. I like to support brick and mortars. I was like, well, I appreciate that. You know, unfortunately, we don't have it, and I can't get it for you for at least a month. You know, and you'll have to pay a deposit on it if you want that transaction to happen. And I wouldn't do that. But anyway, plus you can use my affiliate link and I'll make a couple of bucks. I didn't say that, but I was thinking it.
I mean, look at Rolex on the secondary. Just because somebody's not wanting to wait a year or 2 years for their brand new watch at $10,000, they'll go pay $15,000 for the exact same watch.
Easily.
On the secondary and get it right then. So
this is the only drama I'm going to drop tonight. Are y'all familiar with who that Cavicular kid is? Lux Maxer, who's getting all the viral time. He's got a nightclub in Miami. He went to buy a Rolex on live stream at a Rolex store, and they wouldn't sell him one because that's not how it works. He thought he could just go in there and flash a bunch of cash and buy the one he wanted.
Yeah.
And they were like, your cash.
You get put on a list, and whenever they get that in, they start. You may be 50th on that list.
Yeah,
but that dealer starts at the top and just starts calling people.
He was years out. They quoted him years from the one he wanted, and he was like, "How dare you?" And they brushed him out of the store with his little streaming crew. It's a pretty funny clip.
They don't give a shit.
No,
well, I mean, it's the same with high-end cars.
McLaren.
Like, well, Ferrari, for instance, say you want to get one of the nicer models. No, those are allocated. In order to get one, you have to buy like 2 to 3 of the shitty ones, quote unquote, the entry levels, to even get on the list to get a nice one.
Right. Yeah, and they got some of them that you have to be invited to even buy.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, I follow that culture pretty big too, and those guys are ruthless when it comes to being able for allocations.
And it's almost, I mean, it's almost, you can look at it in 2 different ways. One of them is like, you know, how like stuck up snobby are you, you know, to do that? But it's almost genius on their part.
It is, but it protects the brand as well
Rolex,
too.
They have enough in their warehouses to satisfy all demand out there. But that would kill the market if they did that. So they hold the watches.
Yep.
And they create a demand. There's a vacuum.
That's what I was saying earlier before you get on.
Secondary to be up like that. So that's why they do what they do.
Well, Kyle, they've got another trick, don't they? How are they set up? They're not set up like a normal business, right?
No, they're a charity. They're a nonprofit.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't pay taxes.
So that's that's the thing too that I was saying earlier. Like it protects their brand for the supply and demand. They can ask whatever prices they want because they keep the demand up.
Exactly.
So by selling those units that they don't necessarily want, that's where they're making more money off of those entry level cars than they are their top line, because that's more the R&D. But they get that, so they get allocations out there, and it protects the secondary, so people still want their cars, and people will buy the entry level ones because that's what they can afford over the more expensive ones, just to say I've got one. And people will get rid of those, but sometimes here's the thing, like with them, sometimes you have to have them. You can't just buy them. You have to have them registered or titled and own them for like a certain period of time. You can't just flip them right away.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
You have to own them for a certain amount of time or have them in your name, so you're not just capitalizing on that quick flip.
Correct.
Would you say that Sheer Gorov's the closest in the knife industry to that? 'Cause I've noticed that people have to register when they buy those, or at least at Blade Show, I saw somebody registering them.
No, that's just registering to get I guess for their warranty or whatever. That there's no exclusivity.
Well, let me tell you what happened, because I've never bought one before, but Jeff, my buddy from A to Z, was going to buy one, and we were in line behind an old dude. He must have not much older than me. He was 70, and he was buying 7 of them, and he had them stacked up, and they were recording on in what looked like a big ledger, his name and the serial number of the knives. And my buddy finally got frustrated and left because it was a time-consuming process. Okay.
Yeah. No, with Shiros, you can buy them anywhere, anytime. There's no exclusivity with them. If you want to get one of their customs, you have to be able to get one typically at a show or know someone. But the production stuff, no. There's no.
Kind of like the beautiful stuff that, I know it's different, but like Protex taking some beautiful stuff to Blade Show, as are a lot of other makers, where they kind of show off and do silent auctions or auctions.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's perfectly fine. Cool. The thing with Protec, I like what they do for their blade offerings. I guess it depends upon what you think is fair, but some of their pricing on some of those pieces is kind of a little steep.
On the more bougie ones or the regular ones?
No, they're show special, like the limited edition ones, like the Mike Erie regrinds and that kind of stuff. Gary, speaking of regrinds, I forgot to tell you, was it a couple weeks ago, I saw a Tom Crine fixed blade up for sale that I don't know if they just didn't know what it was. They were asking $175 for it.
A regrind or one of his actual
knives? One of his own.
Okay. You remember which one?
I don't off the top of my head. But I saw it and I sent it to another buddy who collects fixed blades. I was like, dude, for that price point, that's tough to beat. Just even for it to say you had it, and you could probably sell it for more than that. So
yeah, Tom's knives have gotten pretty pricey over the years here. Like, man, I got a pretty small knife from him 4 years ago, small fixed blade and XHP, and I want to say it was 3 something.
Yeah.
I think that knife would now be 4.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I wonder if that somebody didn't know what they had, or the secondary on that knife isn't what it was.
It was a little bit larger, so it wasn't like one of Javon's pocketable fixed blades. So it could have been that people were more looking for the smaller ones and not looking for more of the bushcraft style. It was a little bit larger of a knife.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe the demand was down on those. I don't know. But I just was shocked when I saw his name on it in the price.
You know, I listened to a podcast. What is the name of the podcast? Good Old Boys. Something to that effect. It's a knife podcast. And he had this guy, I think it was Dutton. The guys that are like the Loveless dealer, like they set up at Blade. And you know, this guy has made his career on buying Loveless knives and selling Loveless knives, and they probably made way more money buying and selling Loveless than Loveless did selling Loveless himself.
Gotcha.
And but what was interesting about it is this corner of the market that I'm just a little less familiar with, which is this collecting, you know, hardcore collecting part of the market where these guys are after very specific pieces. And you know, like even now, like a Loveless drop point hunter's $4,000 or $5,000. However, I think the bottom's going to fall out of that market, because the people who even know who Loveless is are declining all the time, and so you know, as time marches on, they're always going to have some value for sure. But I don't know. I think you might be. I almost on eBay was able to get a Loveless drop point hunter with some wear on it. It wasn't banged up, but it was user grade, like it was used. In addition to an actual Loveless blank from his shop, for like $2,500, $3,000 on eBay. I didn't bid on it, and it closed. You know, the auction ended, and then they relisted it, and then it did sell. But if I would have bid on it, I'd have got it. And I kind of regret that now. I don't need a Loveless knife, but I just want one as for like posterity.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's part of the collection thing that people, there are certain things that are sentimental. Doesn't matter what, if it's makes sense to own it or not. It's just because it's cool to have it. But you're right, though. The attrition rate of the old collectors is drastically declining. And I don't see any of the young crowd really having a draw towards stag handles and the old style of knives.
It's interesting that you say that, because I thought the exact same thing, and I'm sure the numbers are lower. But usually what it is, because like I said, the guy that owns the shop he's bought a collection from Kansas where they drove over for him to price it, from Chicago and everywhere in between. He's the guy that people go to sell their cases. So usually it's a widow, the husband collected, and he puts it together and buys a collection. And then the people that are coming in to buy those knives, because they range, if they're in the 70s, 80s, they can top 1,000 for a case. If they're in the 2000s, 90s, they can be in the $200-$300 range, depending on what they are. And usually these collectors' wives or these survivors that are bringing in these collections, these people are collecting specific things. And stag was a big thing that they collected, because I guess you can't get that anymore in real stag. They've got this stuff called 6.5 bone stag. But what I've noticed is usually with every grandpa coming in there, there's a kid younger than me with his kid, and they're all kind of enamored with the case thing. And even the older timers that are talking about, yeah, my granddad had one of those. So I wonder, even though you can see the pyramid getting smaller, if there aren't those people that are going to continue to keep a brand like Case or like Loveless or like Randall alive. Randall's the one that surprises me that I don't get.
You know, maybe Randall, but I mean, Randall's can be had for $500 or $600. So, where you have something like a Loveless knife that's $4,000 or $5,000 for what, in all fairness, is a $600 knife. Eventually, I think those will start to get closer to 600 than 4,000.
Yeah.
As time goes on. Case, on the other hand, and that I think I think there is a younger generation that is very much into slip joints still, traditional slip joints. So I think that market will stabilize more than like the Loveless, Skagel, Ron Lake, like that market.
Yeah, Gary, I think you're dead on, because I think like the kids that are looking at the cases and stuff, that's more of the trendy hipster / like, you know, we want to have the guys playing vinyl who don't really have any clue about what analog is versus digital, but they just want to have something from the old style. They'll buy that stuff, and it's at a much affordable price point. They can buy a case for, you know, $80 to $200, depending upon what it is, and not feel like they're getting ripped off.
From somebody who dipped their toe in that traditional market after he took the Jack Wolf plunge, who bought a couple of Rough Rider Reserves, some Bokers. I was amazed at how inexpensive they were comparative to the knives that I'd been buying. Even the GECs that I got on drops, I felt like were really good prices comparative to what I was used to spending.
Even traditional, even custom slip joints, before COVID were very affordable. It was during COVID, and actually maybe just slightly before COVID, they started to take off in popularity. But you know, before that, let's say prior to 2015 or so, you could get custom slip joints pretty cheap. You can get a custom slip joint $150. You know, then you scratch your head and say, well, why do I buy a case for $90 when I can have this custom one for just a little bit more? But now, what's the going rate for a custom slip joint? $400, $300, $400,
I would say
$500.
You're probably higher. Like I know, like Stevie got one last year out at a show, but this was a local knife show in the Pacific Northwest. And the guy was an older guy. He made nice stuff, and it's a very good looking slip joint, but he only sells on a local level. He doesn't have like a website, all that kind of stuff. And I think he did it in S35 maybe. And he did it, I think there was $350, which was very reasonable. Like a lot of those guys start like at closer to $600 for the custom slip joints.
Yeah.
Like
Garcia,
all those guys are all closer to $1,000.
Some of those guys. So here's a friend of mine here. I'm going to share my screen quick here.
That's a $500 knife there in CPM 154, and his single blades are like $4.25. Now Damascus is going to cost you more, but this is a young maker. He might not feel that his are quite worth it. And in all fairness, we've got 3 of his knives that have been there as long as I have, and they were there before I got there. So they're not being sold because people would rather buy an $800 case from the 70s because it's got a certain number of X's on the tang.
That's asinine to me.
That's what makes them valuable, man. It's the tang stamps.
So
it makes it valuable to a small niche of people. It doesn't make it valuable to everybody.
Not to everybody, but I think the group is bigger than I gave them credit for. I think Case is probably one of the top 3 knife sellers in the country, USA made.
I would take a GC over a Case every day of the week.
Me too.
I'm sharing a screen there.
Oh, let me share it. The Creeley blades?
No.
Okay.
This is a friend of mine, Toriat, and he makes, you know, he's a good slip joint maker. You know, here's one, you know, $600. I cut him a whole bunch of he actually owes me a knife now that I think about it. Of Klingenweks. But, you know, 675, 600, you know, it's 154 cm because that's in this world, that's the premium stainless that people want.
Yes, sir. And I love a single blade slip joint. Those are the only ones I gravitate towards.
Yeah, and these are nice. Like he does a really good job. He's refined his work over the years, and yeah, he does great work. And you know, I think it's a fair price.
And they're probably sharp.
Maybe.
I talked to John today about Case Knives, the owner, who's been to their factory several times, and he says, "Do you know how long it takes to sharpen a case, and I would be like, I'm guessing 15 seconds. He goes, 3 aside. They literally take it and drag it across the wheel one time, drag it across the other way, and they do one blade at a time. So if it's a Congress, they're doing 100 knives, all the big blade. Drag, across the strop if there's a burr, which I thought was interesting, if there's a burr, and then set it down.
That's because they don't care. There's a difference.
Well, and he told me the year that one of the sons came in, because it's basically when you look at the economy of scale. So there was a time when everybody made a good wage there. It was a company that was on the up and up. They were trying to make knives that were quality for people that could afford them. Over the years, when the son took over after one of them died or something, he said we can no longer, at our numbers, provide that level of perfection for the prices we're charging. So they had to, and again, it just is product cheapening department almost, it sounds like. But to listen to this dealer of theirs who's not an enthusiast, he doesn't collect them himself, but they're his bread and butter, talk about it as well. It's really the only way a business growing like that can go, which I found, why couldn't you just continue to make quality knives?
Pride in ownership.
Yeah, exactly. Somewhere along the line, they lit more things. And then they started, at one point, they started selling seconds, which they used to just trash them. So they were less likely to make a second. So now with the second market, because the stamps are evidently crossed out, the workers aren't as worried about mistakes, little things like that.
Well, the bad thing about that is when you start cutting corners and have a lack of ownership, then you're just willing to put out a subpar, half-assed product just for a slightly different price. That's not what any collector, any person who follows your brand wants.
You would think not. You would think not. But keep in mind, and like John told me, he's like, think about it. 440 was the greatest steel forever for how many years before this new steel came out? And I was like, I don't know. He goes, I used it and it was fine for a long time, John.
Well, 440C is still a nice steel. Like they're using 420HC, which is
yeah.
And sorry, Gary, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So they're using that steel. But here's another transition too. You know, maybe as far back as the 70s or maybe even later. You know, these case knives were still like an actual cutting tool. Like people carried these to cut stuff. But with the advent of Spyderco and Benchmade and these other knives that perform so much better, one-hand operation, better steels, larger blades, more functional cutting tools.
True.
So now case knives, I'm sure there are guys who still cut stuff with case knives, and I'm sure there's that. But by and large, if you actually want to, but by and large, if you really want a functional cutting tool, there are much better choices. And so case has become more of a novelty, niche, collectible, you know, like those spoons that you collect, than not that I collect, but than an actual practical cutting tool.
I think you're exactly right.
And that happened somewhere between 1970 and now. You know, that's been a transition. So yeah, there are guys that use them, old guys, some old timers still use them. I mean, there are people out there who use them, but for the most part though, I mean, I think there was a time, you know, probably in the 40s and 50s, that's all people used. That was it. That was the EDC. That was the cutting tool. That's what you peeled your apple with or whatever.
And the old time case guys
had options. They didn't have other options.
No, maybe $110, but what was that?
Right.
60?
And the thing about, go ahead, John. Sorry.
No, you go ahead, buddy.
I just want to say the whole thing about 420HC, which is what cracks me up in some of these old FUDs that talk about it, is they act like because it had a Boss heat treat that it was the greatest things in the sliced bread. If you go back and look at it, the Boss heat treat was nothing special. Was it better than other 420HC at the time? Yes, but it wasn't anything groundbreaking, and it didn't make it like ungodly, untouchable. And the other guys we'll talk about, you know, Bokers, and got to have that Sologen steel. That's not a steel. It's just the name of the place where it's made, you idiot. Like people still talk about that like it's something special. It's like, no, it's still a basic carbon steel. It just comes from a certain location in Germany, and that's why they call it solid steel.
Right. Well, it's interesting you say that because the case knives are evidently so soft, or I don't know if this is so soft. Maybe other knives do this. They're able to stamp them out in most cases. Ever since they added that Crossroads series, which only has a sod buster and one Barlow in it, the ones that are S35VN, they don't have nail nicks. They've got little nail holes in them. And all the purists are like, well, why is that hole there? And it's because those had to be cut out with the laser because the steel is S35VN and you can't stamp it with the machines that they're stamping the carbon steel and the other knives. All those blades are stamped out for case knives.
So when when Buck in like 1986 transitioned from 440C to 420HC, which was an enormous downgrade, you know, my guess, they were stamping 440C, which is probably pushing it. That's probably about the limit of a steel that you could stamp. And they switched to the 420HC. Max hardness on 420HC is like 57. So Boss's heat treat is actually pretty good. I mean, that's maxed out. Running 420HC at 57 Rockwell is like running 1095 at 67 Rockwell. So they're really maximizing it, but it's still lousy.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. It's like it for the time frame, it was good, but it wasn't like the best things in the sliced bread. It
wasn't good for the time frame. 440C was good for the time frame.
When the 420HC first came out, it was okay, but then when they 440 obviously was better. But my point is, people at that certain ranking put the Boss heat treat like it was, the next thing. Like
they went from 440C to a steel that probably has literally half the edge retention.
Right.
And so they went backwards in the 80s. And probably yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'll say GEC still uses 1095, and there are so many. I get the purists wanting a carbon steel for patina and everything else, but there are so many good carbon steels out now that you can make it out of that outperform 1095, and you wouldn't have to charge that much more.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, like 52100 is a much nicer carbon steel than 1095. I would take that all day long. It's tougher and has better edge retention. It's a little more rust prone, but if you're worried about rust, then carbon steel isn't the way to go. So,
right. I mean, but also you got all of your 3Vs, 4Vs, 10V, like any of the K390. If you really want an edge retention, didn't care about
those are high speed. They're like tool steel, high speed steel.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying they're still carbon based. They'll get patina. That's kind of
3V shouldn't patina much. 3V is almost stainless.
Yeah, we're talking about rust. Where's the line between patina and rust? Because all these guys talk about patina is what you need. Don't worry about rust. What's that mean? I mean, I know patina is
the graying, like the graying slow over time type of oxidation, whereas rust is like hardcore oxidation, like red. Patina is gray. Rust is red.
I got you. But does patina prevents rust because it kind of seals it in a way?
A little bit, very little. Like if you ferric chloride etch 1095, it might resist rust a little bit more.
But the thing about 1095, so like I don't mind a GEC. GECs are pretty cool for what they are, right? Like, I'm not a slip joint guy, but they're pretty cool for what they are. But for the love of God, there's never been a GEC that comes out that's even sharp from the factory. Like, try a little bit. Like, it's barely a primary grind. Like, you have to sharpen every single one.
But yeah, and that gets into that. It's a novelty more than a cutting tool.
Because the way they open it with their thumb, think about that. I've always thought that was crazy, the way a lot of slip joint purists take that last open and push it with their thumb. And I've seen people cut bananas with them, but I don't think they've ever, maybe back before, like Gary said, when they were a tool, people would sharpen them. But I've had to sharpen every slip joint I've gotten except my Jack Wolf's, my QSP, even my Penguin. Have y'all seen the Penguin slip?
You know, when you think about it, though, if you ever grabbed an old timer's like slip joint, they're not sharp often.
Or if they are, they've been sharpened by them. This is screaming sharp. You remember the Penguin, the QSP Penguin? It was my first budget knife, little flipper. And I know it's a Chinese modern traditional, and people say you can't say modern and traditional, and I realize that's an oxymoron. That's why I say it, because it drives people crazy. But they're better cutting tools. I like GECs for the same reason I like Paces for the nostalgia, but I do sharpen my knives. And this is where I'll take a Veneve stone, one of my higher grits, and I'll put it in a holder, and I'll do it by hand. I don't trust myself with a fixed system on them.
What's up,
that's a GEC. A bullbuster.
But, you know, if you want to go back vintage a little bit, you know, you got slip joints and then the other is backlocks. Here is, you know, here's an Almar, you know, nice backlock from probably from the 80s, maybe the 90s. I'm not sure.
I think those are better than bucks in so many ways. We have several down there that we've traded for. I think those are gorgeous knives.
This is, yeah, I really like this. I got this at a knife show. It's like $200, but yeah, listen to this. Listen to this.
Almars used to be phenomenal, but then when did they start selling out? That was like,
that's just snappy.
Yeah, that's just
mid 2000s.
No, it was later than that. You know, Almar was never actually. You know, Almar was a what would you call it? An OEM brand,
right?
Thank you, man.
They never made knives. But they had, you know, they had a handful of Japanese companies that they used that were really good. I have another Almar I like a lot. I think I've showed you guys this one before. You know, this is a little more modern, also Japanese. But when they stopped making them in Japan, 10 years ago, maybe.
Was it okay? I was thinking like 2010 for some reason, but like I knew that. Prior to that, they were phenomenal as far for the price point, but then they were very slicey. But then they started doing everything in China, and quality dropped, and they seemed cheap as all get out.
I hate to admit it, the Chinese ones are fantastic.
Are they? I never held one.
Yeah, they're fantastic. They're just, I don't know, they're Chinese.
And it's a feel. It's something about it. And
I can buy a Civivi for a third of the price. You know what? You know, just because it says Almar, like. They are good. They are good. Like I've had a couple of the Chinese ones, and they're surprisingly good.
One nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
What are you watching? Baseball?
No, Cliff talking to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, no, I agree. I used to be, and I would argue all the time about Chinese versus U.S. because I always felt that there were things that you can't get in a Chinese knife that a USA maker can give you, and there are things that you can get in a Chinese knife that a USA maker can't give you. Over the years, it's really impacted what I carry and how I personally, it has nothing to do with the dollars that the knife costs, but the value or the desire I have for that knife. And I don't know what made the switch, but I've really gravitated much more towards US makers. I don't discredit Chinese makers, and there's some that I really like, but I rarely carry them as one of my three primary carries.
They can make a great tool. They have the machining ability to make a great tool. The issue is when you start learning more about business practices, and if you have any scruples, then you kind of back up a little bit. And that's where part of the collection process evolves. And the more you know, the less you want to know, unfortunately.
Well, to borrow a term, certain knives give you the fizz and certain knives don't. And this Almar from, I don't know, the 2000s at some point. It is, I don't know if it's going to show up on the camera here, but
let me make you big for just a sec.
I don't know if you can see how poorly centered that blade is.
Yeah, it's up against the left scale.
It's terrible. And they're almost all like this. I still like it. Doesn't hurt it.
I'm going to tell you a secret that I learned today. This is conversation after the Case son wanted to cheapen the product a little bit. They would talk about knives, blades rubbing, which I see a lot in new knives, like on Whittlers, and you'll see a blade rubbing another blade. And the quality control people are like, is it scratching? And they'll be like, yes. Is it scratching the main bevel? No. Then it's acceptable. So it used to be they didn't want blades touching if you buy an old case. Like if you look at some of these old vintage cases, they're set up perfectly. The Whittlers are done totally different. They've got they've got really angled tangs. It's amazing geometry that they worked with to make those close. But if you look at the modern ones, a good one's going to rub. It's just they don't. They don't care, or their customer is not expecting the same level of quality. I don't know the answer to that.
So here is a German brand, brand of slip joint. This would be considered a high-end slip joint. And if you look into this one, this is quite well centered.
Yes, it is.
Get the focus there. This is quite centered. However, the primary blade isn't even apexed.
Well, if you think about how they sharpen those with two passes, how can you apex it?
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Truly apex it.
Why even bother? And of course, I'm sure if I sharpened this, it would reduce the collector value.
It does. And they can tell. Yeah. They can tell. I've had a guy, and this is one of my nice stories. This guy comes in once a week. He's a young guy. Everybody there is nice to him, but we all hate him. We all run when he comes in. And he talked to us about a vintage collection that was turned in, and he was questioning a knife that he wanted to buy that it had been sharpened. And we're like, we can assure you, none of these knives have been sharpened. This was a collector. Like most collectors, they buy them, they wrap them back up, and they put them in a safe. And he was like, well, you can definitely see the grinds aren't even. And the old guy that owns the store was like, Case doesn't make even grinds. It's not their focus. They're spending, what happened is on a Friday or whenever that knife was being sharpened, he drug it a little far. And that's why it looks like that tip is a little different on this side than that side. But I've seen people like Lefty that'll critique a modern knife like that. But to critique something, and maybe it's just because I've been around them for 5.5 months, that I've never seen one really straight. But it's nuts that people still look. They're very picky, and they'll want to go through. He's gotten to the point where he won't put more than 3 cases out on a shelf. For example, if he gets 9 axe handles in, he won't put them all out because there are people that'll come in that'll want to go through every one of them and unwrap them to try to find the best one, which I can understand. I might be that if I was that guy, but I'm not. And I can understand his point for I'm going to put 3 out, and when they get low, I'll put a couple more out. People can look through 2, plus the one that's out there. Because he culls them all. I mean, he opens everything that comes in, and he doesn't like it, he'll send it back. Because he knows what their thresholds, I guess, of acceptance are. And I've seen him run people out of there, so he doesn't care. He's a nice guy. He's going to try to earn people's business. But if people want unrealistic things from a maker that can't deliver, he'll tell them, just go find something else. Bluminati gifting 10 memberships to Javon's Knife Flicks. Bluminati, dude, that's above and beyond. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Let's see who got memberships. I'm sure we got a bunch. And you guys that got memberships, you can look down and check, but you want to stop by the Sunday afternoon stream that goes from 4 to 5 because it's just a thank you stream. that you'll want to be part of. I can't find my
How much is
comments.
a membership?
$3, I think. I'm not sure. I set them up so long ago, but thank you so much, buddy. And anybody who got a new membership, I can't check them right now, but you'll get an email saying that you were gifted a membership. And if you come, you'll get the notification that I'll put out Sunday, probably tomorrow afternoon. I do a members live stream from 4 to 5, and it's just a giveaway and a hang. You do not have to be present to win. YouTube gifted another membership. Guys, y'all are awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Is
The
that
last
a person, YouTube Music Portal, or is that YouTube?
No, that's a guy. He might be YouTube Music Portal, but he's been in our chats for 5 years. We were in chats together before I had a channel. But it makes me wonder, because I never use YouTube's Music Portal, because I got a copyright thing when I tried to use their music. And if I play that little Rocky hug too long, I'll get Bluminati. What are you doing, dude? Thank you, brother. Gifting 10 more memberships.
Again? Jeez, dude.
Dude, that is more. He says, I've got to pull up and see who's getting these memberships, just so I can tell them to come by Sunday if they don't get it. And again, my member streams, you don't have to be present to win. All you got to do is jump in, drop the secret word in, and go about your business. If you win, I will contact you and I'll mail it out to you on Monday. We've been doing a Fixiana folder. Let's see. Show me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to see if I can get it before the chat goes away.
We're going to have every single person in the chat a member.
That's awesome, though. And you know what else it does? I think this is kind of weird because I've gotten them. You do not have to be in a live stream to get gifted a channel membership. You can be just a subscriber and you can get a channel membership. So I'll put out a Bluminati thank you on that post saying y'all need to check, because we've got JV received a membership, Jeffrey Dawson received a membership, Real Sharifs received a membership, Autumn Wind received a membership, Sniper No Sniping received a membership, Light Switch, Commander Cody, Rodney, Whiskey 324, Laid Off Peak. Man, we got a ton of people with memberships. And I'll put it out tomorrow. Ryan's dropping cash. Ryan, dude, you do not have to do that.
This is
that'll give me the copyright.
Jovan's iced coffee on the way to Blade Show Fund.
And Ryan's he gets me to Blade Show. That guy does too much. Y'all all do too much.
You get to Blade Show really fast.
Everybody sit back and chill, and we'll have an awesome Sunday giveaway. I'll come up with a couple of special things. And the thing about my giveaways, Gary, is I've got a low, kind of tight circle group. So about 6 months into it, there'll be 2 or 3 people that haven't won, so they get in their own special category. And for the last 3 or 4, we'll do dual giveaways. So you get a drawing in both. We make sure everybody wins on Javon's Knife Flex. I don't know if you can say wins, but everybody's gifted a knife or 2 or
so
few.
I'm debating for Blade. So I have a Airbnb that's maybe 35 minutes away from the Cobb Center, the Cobb Galleria, and I'm thinking about maybe inviting some people over on Friday night to just hang out. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like hanging out in the pit. It's loud, obnoxious. Sometimes I got music blaring. Everybody's screaming at each other.
Sloshing drinks.
People drink a lot. I don't drink, so
Me neither.
Nuts.
And so I just don't enjoy it. It's just not my scene. I think I would like some of the conversations, but just the context of the venue and whatnot, is not for me. And so I walk through there, and my guys often feel the same way about it. They're just like, just loud and
Well,
know,
it's overstimulation. People talk over each other. You've been standing around talking to people all day in your booth. You kind of want a little bit of sanctuary, right? And that's not it. The pit's not a place to get a good conversation and quiet time. You can get the good conversation occasionally.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and business is done, and people meet and do deals and whatnot. And that sounds appealing to me. But yeah, yeah. So I might invite a bunch of people over to my, we have a whole house. So, I'm thinking Friday night if people want to hang out but don't want to
do the whole pit thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna be there Sunday regardless if you sold out or if you sell out. Do you think you're gonna pack up early?
No,
I know you're not expecting that.
I never pack up early. I just think that's rude.
Because I'm gonna bring Tate by, the other owner of Knives and More, the place I want you to have your knives. He's familiar with them, but I'd like you guys to talk or at least introduce him to you. And you might have to schedule a call later because you'd probably be busy. But I'll make sure he gets to meet you. He's very familiar with your product.
Sometimes I sit around and I'm twiddling my thumbs, and sometimes there's a line of people to talk to me, and you never know which it's going to be.
You just got to be ready to react when they come by. And the thing I used to just despise about shows, and you get really good at it, you get your elevator pitch and your conversation, and you're always open-ended if somebody wants to take it there. But there's so many people who are just trying to extract the same information that I'm almost like a robot when I'm working a show. And when it's over, it's hard for me to still have a social button that hadn't been just beaten too much.
One of the things with a knife show, somebody comes up to my table and wants to talk to me for 3 hours and then not buy a knife. It's kind of like I've learned to kind of move those conversations along a little better over the years. And now I'll talk to people as long as they want to talk, but if there's 3 people behind them,
you can't afford to. That's what all content creators need to know is they're not there to try to engage with somebody and get them on film. This is your chance in a year to meet. You never know when the right person is going to come up. So you can't really be distracted. I think that's the time for makers, distributors to sell their goods. It's the show for y'all. And the people there to buy should ask the questions to get familiar with the product and then move on. They shouldn't take somebody's time. And I know a lot of people don't think like that.
It's not usually creators taking the time, though.
It's just talkers.
It's just the average Joes. Yeah.
Dang, I missed some fireworks.
In the chat where?
Yeah, Bluminati.
Oh, yeah. Bloom tore it up.
Blue blew out 20 memberships.
That's crazy.
He's hooked it up. It blew. I appreciate you, brother. If you go to the Blaze show, I don't drink, but that doesn't mean I can't buy you a drink. But yeah,
don't cause your brother to stumble, Jovan.
Blue, are you
coming the guy to your right or whatever it is?
I wouldn't. I'm still I'm not active in the program, but I'm still in the program. I think I think everybody could benefit from a program like that.
What's that?
Humble yourself. AA for me is what I
still work steps every day.
Yeah, I think it's great.
11 years.
I think it's great.
Actually, in July it'll be 12 years for me. And
I just turned over 11.
Yep.
At the end of March, I just hit 23.
I mean, I think it's great.
I'll be 23 days without sucking the ding dong.
I got
23 years without any booze.
My
best
friend from college and my best man and the guy that I learned to play guitar with, who we used to then go out to Colorado and played. He's always been my boy. He passed away about 6 months ago, kind of tragically, kind of from his own living type thing. But his wife got my address and sent me a box. I've got a box. It's about this wide, about that high, square, full of stuff.
What kind of music you play on guitar, John?
I play jam band stuff. I play a little of that. That's a beautiful. Is that a Martin?
This is a Taylor. But
that's beautiful. I love that small body.
It's just a cheapie in my office just to figure out songs.
I've started playing different stuff on YouTube since I'm not playing with anybody. But my whole
Freebird.
my whole repertoire was just jam band stuff. Neil Young, stuff like that. I played some Neil Young.
Neil Young. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Some Needle and the Damage Done. Oh man, I got to play at my cousin's debutante ball, and my dad was sitting out in the audience when my mom and dad were still married, and I got to sing Old Man and cold stare him while I sang it, like Neil would have to his dad if he was alive.
Old man, take a look in my life. What
a great song. For me, it kind of lined up with the.
I like that, Bugsy. Play some Soul Shine.
Soul Shine. I don't know.
Allman Brothers.
That takes me back to my grandpa passing. He was a. Anyone seen Boardwalk Empire, the TV show on HBO?
I'm familiar with it, but I don't think I've ever watched it.
So there was a character in there, roughly based off my grandfather. He grew up in the sticks of West Virginia, and ended up leaving home. They were Shiners. He ended up leaving home at like 14, and he ended up going to Atlantic City, and was peddling guitar for money out on the boardwalk, and ended up getting picked up by some guys there that liked his playing and said, hey, they were pretty well to do. They said, hey, travel with us, we'll pay you well, just play guitar and entertain us when we have women around and stuff. And so he did that for a couple of years, and they took him to Chicago, New York City, all over the place. Well, come to find out, he was telling us a story later in life. The guy who picked him up and took him to Chicago was Al Capone.
Wow.
And he played guitar for those guys forever, like I said, for 2 or 3 years, and then came back and got out of that and was working on aircrafts, and he was big into golf, and he also he was caddying on the side at Greenbrier. And but long story short, he played guitar till a week before he died, and he was 82 when he passed, but he would still once a week go out to the nursing home and tell the people he was going to go out there and play guitar and sing to the old folks. And he was older than a lot of people in that nursing home.
That's so fantastic.
When he passed, I understand it. My grandma sold off his guitars, but God, I would have loved to have one of them. He had some like 1930s, 40s Martins, Gibsons, like rare stuff. He had like 12 or 13 guitars.
Plus if you have like a D28, or if you have a D28 from the late 30s, early 40s, that's a $100,000 guitar, $200,000 guitar.
She sold them all in a bunch to a collector. I think she ended up getting, I think she got took, but she ended up getting like close to 60,000 for them. But it was like 10 or 12 of them.
Depending what 40s and 30s and 40s Martins, that does sound like she got took, because just one of those could have come.
But for her at the time, it was easy. Well, this was also
how many years ago?
22, 23 years ago.
Yeah, they were still pretty expensive, not as expensive.
But for her at the time frame, it was a
lifesaver. Probably.
It was a closure thing, and just, hey, I'm going to do this, pay off the rest of the house, and move.
And they'll continue to make music somewhere, because if it's a collector, they're going to find hands, because you think about the history of a guitar like that. Did he ever tell you stories? I mean, like, he might not have even known they were bad people, or did he?
No, he found out as he was going along, but he also wasn't, he was a moonshiner and left home at 14. He wasn't educated. It was funny. I was a kid and watching him write notes, and he couldn't spell for shit, but he was one of the better storytellers you were able to hear, and was talented in so many different ways. But then he got into woodworking, and that's where I learned some of that stuff from. And that's who got me into golf, actually, too. But he chopped off his finger out in the wood shop because he was smoking a cigarette. My grandma came out there to check on him. He told her he had quit, and he went to throw it out of the way, and he slid his hand right across the bandsaw. Took it off right at the second knuckle.
So he got caught and lost his finger?
Yep, still continued to play guitar.
So she's like, I told you that. You're like, man, I can just hear that argument right now.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Brother Ryan.
He was a stubborn ass, but man, he was a good guy.
Well, you think about it, to have very little education, to be a moonshiner, and to master something like golf and guitar when you're not, I mean, that's, and woodworking, I mean, that's you using parts of your brain that most people don't even know how to tap into.
Well, his career was aircraft, aeronautics. He was doing repair work and stuff on, because he wanted to join, he was born in 1915. He wanted to join and go to war, but he was too young. And then he was getting too old for the second one. So he ended up working on aircraft, and that's where he's spent his whole career and retired doing aircraft. And everything else was side hobbies. So golf, woodworking, that was all side hobbies. He did that to make money on the side for fun. But yeah, that's
the greatest generation, man. Without a doubt. I mean, wanting to sign up to go fight for your country. I know they still do that. And God bless every single one of them. But yeah, my grandparents, even, I mean, my dad's parents and my mom's parents were totally different. Again, my mom's parents were paperclip people, but they all worked hard. They all had so much pride in what they were doing, you know.
Excuse me.
And then I think, you know, it's just went downhill from there. I think they believed a lot of stuff too, unconditionally.
The funny thing was, so like a lot of his memorabilia and stuff like that was, it's like when he passed, I got like golf clubs and that kind of stuff from his, just to have as keepsakes. But when he was at the Greenbrier, funny enough, when he was in town, he used to caddy for Sam Snead, because that was Sam's home course.
Snead, what's his career? I know that name. Music?
No, Hall of Fame, crazy amount of major winning golfer.
I got you, Sam Snead.
Yeah.
So did he caddy with him just for pleasure, or when he was touring?
No, just when he was there in town. That was his home course. So when he was there, he would take care of him.
Are those good stories where people, like, you want to meet your heroes, or they take care of you, or are they assholes? Or...
A lot of those guys, funny enough, a lot of those guys from like that era, like the 40s, 50s, were kind of typical, what you would kind of depict as far as womanizers, drunks. That was they put on the air in public, but behind the scenes they were like all kind of sports guys back then.
Right. They had to kind of be on the hard side. YouTube Music Portal, that's one of my top 5 guitarists, Warren Haynes. I love him in Government Mule. I loved him when he was with the Brothers, with Derek. I loved him in Dark Star Orchestra. Y'all should enjoy that. Government Mule is one of the best concerts I've seen since I've been back in Huntsville.
YouTube, you are correct, sir.
Tiger tied his tour victory record at 82, right, Kyle?
That is correct.
You just said you're right.
Yep.
So is Tiger through? Is Tiger not going to win any more majors?
Yeah, he's done. You know what's crazy? This makes me feel old, because I remember growing up watching him. He actually is eligible for the senior tour this year.
But
Is he?
Going to be later this year, because it's 50 to get on the senior tour.
I didn't think.
If you're still a banger, which he's not, you can still play in the regulars, right? You don't automatically get graduated up if you're still swinging.
No, you don't. You don't have to. No, I mean you don't have to, but you can play in that. But yeah, no, he's got way too many problems. It's not just his off the course behavior, which is out of control, but it's his so many injuries. He's cooked. I mean, he's still phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. Like, he could beat majority of people, but he's cooked as far as trying to compete on tour.
That's just, I mean, that's just, it's almost tragic. But at the same time, I mean, hell, you don't have to let it get to that way, I guess.
He started young. He had a lot of good years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think what a disappointment.
He's still the best that ever did it.
No, he's not. He's the most influential.
Well, he's the most famous that's ever done it.
I would disagree with that even too. I think he is. Really? He's the most influential, and he's the most talented, raw talent. Jack is still the best of all time.
See, I think he was the most mainstream, just across the board.
Jack.
You wouldn't think that?
No, Jack was beloved in his day. Like, he was.
Everybody, right? I don't remember ever hearing a bad word about him.
No, he is like literally the complete opposite of Tiger as far as stand-up human being. I'm not going to be lying. I am a little bit biased because of his ties to here, but he's still. I mean, you look at your records. His major streak is never going to be broken. I don't see anyone breaking that.
Do you think, Kyle? I don't know enough about the game, but with equipment, with training, if you took some of these people and put them in different periods, like some of the people playing today, would the best players still be matched up with the best players, or would it be lopsided? I guess you can't really say because they're not training with the same equipment.
Yeah. So there's two sides to that coin. It's more impressive to see the feats that they were accomplishing with such limited capabilities as far as equipment back in the day, in conditions and everything else, right?
Sure.
But at the same sense, when you look at what these guys are capable of now, it's two different eras. It's kind of like comparing, I have an opinion, but it's like comparing Jordan versus LeBron as far as they're two different types of playing. The league is totally different types of leagues. Like there was actually defense back in Jordan's era. There in physicality. There's not nowadays. It's hard to compare those two side by side.
Right.
But like nowadays, if you look at the science of golf, it is much more technical than it ever has been before as far as scientifically, and they're able to get that last little ounce out of performance based upon everything that they study. But they're also prima donnas as far as they have to have the best conditioning, best courses, everything else. The guys back in the day, they didn't care. They just teed it up wherever they told them to play. It didn't matter what the conditions were.
It'd be a dusty course, and they're going to drag their clubs around and play it if everybody else
and they figured out how to get it around and win. So Tiger was the most influential, but Jack is still the greatest, in my opinion. And I think even some statistics show that. But it depends on what you take as more of a, I don't want to phrase it, what you take as more creed to someone's career.
Right. Yeah, I think it's, I just remember people saying 20 years ago that Tiger will surpass, and then he just never did. He never really did anything else because people come up behind him. He's getting hurt. His body's wearing out. People are training on simulators. Everybody has the same. I think if you're at that elite class, you've got the same access to training, right? Once you get to be that good where you're on the tour.
Yeah, for the most part, you do. I mean, because
and Tiger did everything he did with Nike clubs.
Yeah, Nike. They built a company for him. You know what his first deal was worth?
Those clubs were horrible.
I've got to
No. They were for the mass public. What they actually built him. So prior to him signing the deal with Nike, he played Mizuno MP29s, the same irons that I played at that time frame.
Yeah.
They took the MP29s, ground the heels to exactly the way he liked them, his specs, and stamped them. They bought them from Mizuno and stamped them Nike. That's what he played. So they built a company and started making clubs that he wanted. But in the meantime, he got to play what he was playing prior to and just had Nike's name on it. And Nike paid Mizuno that much money for it. But his first
So
contract,
he was
his first
really
contract,
playing with Mizuno. They just had Nike.
correct. The first contract he signed with Nike, which was been 97, 98, somewhere in that range, was a 10-year, $250 million contract, which was absolutely bonkers at that time frame.
Well,
See pictures of his house. It's like the house that Nike built.
Yeah, hang on, I gotta take the dog out.
The thing with Tiger is he certainly could have been a lot more than he ended up being, and a lot of his problem was life choices that he had made and continued to make.
I agree with you 100%.
His limitation was less his golf game and more his life
Did you
choices.
see some of the women he was with?
Yeah,
If
but
I
I
was
think
him,
he
I'd
had
do
that.
the same thing, boy.
But you might have back then, but if you look at it now, you see that his choices were all made off of lust and things that are just going to lead you down bad roads.
I doubt he regrets anything.
Well, the funniest story is, I don't know if y'all have ever heard
He may
John
now.
Daly. Yeah, he
May now.
He may now.
All jokes aside, but I guarantee.
He had that terrible accident because of his, behavior, which
He's
led
got some
to
problems. Yeah, he's got some
and I'm
problems.
sure his addiction came about through normal channels of surgeries and all the pain he's in, but that's a horrible addiction to deal with. I feel for anybody going through that shit.
Let me tell you something. After that last wreck that I had, I caught myself very easily getting addicted. They had me on 4 different very, very strong pain medications, one of which they give cancer patients. And so I would take one, and then 4 hours later, I would take a different one. 4 hours later, I would take a different one, 4 hours, and then start over every 4 hours. All right. I got to a point where I'm like, hey, I'm not going to take any more unless I need them. So I'd wake up in the morning, and by 8 o'clock in the morning, I felt like I had the flu. And it was the worst flu I had.
That's withdrawal.
And this wasn't long after I quit drinking. So, I mean, thank God that this happened this way, because I was able to recognize exactly what it was. Guys, in the pain medicine they had given me were in these huge round bottles that were this tall and just full. I had morphine, OxyContin, Demerol, it was Demerol and Lortab 10s.
And you didn't need but probably one of those, if that many.
Well, I mean, I was pretty broke up. I mean, I had a shattered pelvis, broke hip, broke my shin, broke ribs.
When they were taking you off of that, did they ever talk to you about withdrawals or how you would feel?
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. If the doctors don't.
So I was smart enough. I weaned myself back just to keep from getting sick. But as soon as I got to where I couldn't take them, I took the pain. And I mean, I guarantee you, I flushed $10,000 worth of narcotics down the toilet.
Oh, let me tell you something. And
I'm scared to death of them now. And now I understand how people get so addicted to the pain medication, because doctors, what they were doing, they don't do it anymore, thank God, but what doctors were doing, they would prescribe the medication and with good intentions, and they weren't doing it on purpose, and then all of a sudden they've been on it for 6 months. All of a sudden doctors are like, no, we're not going to prescribe anymore.
Because some law came down or something.
You can't
and those
just stop
had
taking
nowhere to
that
go.
stuff. Let me tell you something. That was the worst feeling I've ever felt for in my life.
No. And there are people now I hear about that are addicted to Suboxone because they put that out there as a forever
it's
treatment.
The same thing. Exactly. Right. You're just
That should be
trading
a
one
wean
addiction.
thing. You should be on a Suboxone regimen where you're over a course of time.
Now, I will, like the methadone and stuff like that. Now, when it's done right, it could be a successful program.
Yeah, they got to wean you off of stuff, though.
Exactly, because what they do is they start stepping you down,
right.
and over about a year, you're good to go. Well, sometimes they don't do that, to my understanding. Now, I'm not an expert at this. What I'm telling you could be completely wrong. But from my understanding, you get to a certain point, you can sit there and tell them, hey, no, I need more. And they just keep giving it to you. It's a money thing.
Yeah. That's why they were
it's the government or the FDA, whatever. It's their way of making money, dealing drugs and making money.
That's a fact.
Insurance.
See, here's the thing. It's not the government or the FDA. It's
exactly.
company.
It's whoever.
It's drug companies.
Yeah.
lining the pockets of doctors.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, hey, gents, it's it's my departure time here on the East Coast. But
I guess next time we see you, it'll be Atlanta.
good to see you guys. Yeah.
Oh,
and
I'm going to go
too.
live Tuesday. I'll send you a link, but I know you'll be packing up, getting ready.
Maybe we'll do an ice cream social on that Friday night at our house. Have people over.
There you go.
Whatever to be the alternative. It's like the alternative Super Bowl halftime show.
Exactly. With a real conversation happening.
All right, Jen.
Have a good rest of your weekend, buddy.
Good to see y'all. Yep. Bye.
But yeah, it's just,
the issue with Tiger was more than just the drugs, but it was so like he was doing some for his time frame. He was doing crazy physical regimens as far as what like his training. Like he was going out training with Navy SEALs. He was doing stuff that was out of the ordinary and pushing himself so hard to the point where it was breaking his body down.
do you think
like,
he was on advanced peptides and stuff like that when he was doing that training to make his body not absorb as much damage, that he was also getting legal?
No, because surprisingly, they actually started when the workout craze started in the late 90s, the tour started testing.
I got you.
So they couldn't get away with that like the baseball era.
Well, I didn't know if there were legal things because I know that I don't know.
I
what
think they should let them
Korner
juice.
talk
And
about.
let's just gladiator style. Let them juice.
Yeah. In some sports, I think that's
see
okay.
I want every baseball player out there to start juicing, and I want to see where it goes. I think it would be the most interesting thing in the world.
I get it from a entertainment standpoint, but from a health and safety standpoint, there's too much liability for these companies because you think all these major league organizations are massive companies with massive.
And they have fingers that go all the way down.
They have liabilities galore. They can't promote that stuff. So I get it, but
it's if the player wants to take it, it's on you.
But no, when they have pension
That's your
funds,
personal life.
they have pension funds, they have healthcare funds. They can't do that. But
I'm going to start a different MLB.
But what crazy was Tiger won a U.S. Open on a fractured leg.
Yeah.
His leg was actually broken.
See, and how did he do that if he wasn't on something?
Freaking machine.
Yeah,
he was a machine.
He was limping.
You cut him, he don't
I
bleed.
remember when he hit that tree with his wrist, and every swing, like those next 4 holes, he couldn't even hold his club. So he banged himself up on the course in other areas too.
Yeah.
Well, that stemmed from training and everything else, but yeah, he was a pioneer when it came to a lot of the physical traits. Justin Thomas has got a lot of club head speed. He's up there. He seems like an absolute fun hang too. He's got a good personality. He's a Kentucky boy, but so Tiger screwed himself with a lot of off the course stuff that wasn't even about the golf.
It was kind of God complex stuff, right?
That's right. After Drew.
Think about this though, John. He literally was bred to be who he was. He was on TV since the age of 2.
What was that? Tonight
Johnny
Show?
Carson.
Yeah,
Johnny Carson. He won his first golf tournament at 4, and continually was in the spotlight. Like there,
and an African American, which put more eyes on him because that was.
Well, there was that, but it was also the way his dad was not the best person in the world. He loved him, and he loved his son, but he treated him poorly. Like there was probably some serious abuse issues going on.
Issues that are traumatic to him now.
Not in a creepy way, but more of like abuse. Like you're not getting dinner unless you go hit 800 golf balls, and you're 6 years old, 7 years old. Like the old school mentality. He was drill sergeant and told him from that age that's all he was going to do. He had no childhood. So when he hit that fame and stardom, it was all bright lights, and he had no experience with any of that stuff starting in college. Like he had the support of his family, but he didn't have like a normal growing up and stuff. Like he he only had a few friends, and most of those were the guys off his college team.
Yeah, because he was so segmented into the golf life, I guess. That took up all his time, right?
Yeah. So here's one thing, Terry, that I think maybe people overlook. The fact of what they make is completely dependent upon what they bring in. So if that sport brings in so much money, then they're worth it for the entertainment value. Do I think that what they make is ridiculous? Absolutely. But if they bring that much money in revenue-wise,
the business model makes sense.
I think that they are entitled to a portion of that and not let the business just take all the money. But, dude, Ellen Nordgren was an absolute perfect example of a trophy wife, Terry.
She was 100% a trophy wife.
She was a stunning, super sweet Swedish supermodel.
She wasn't going to give him any shit.
But she knew. She knew.
I don't think so. I think she was just naive.
She knew. You're married to somebody like Tiger Woods, and he's out on tour. You can't be with him 100% of the time. You think that dude ain't getting his ding dong.
I think she was naive in a way. I really believe for her to snap as hard as she did on that Thanksgiving, that she was probably in the cold and thought, how could he do that?
It's just like any famous athlete. Any famous athlete. There's not a single one of them is 100% loyal to
I agree, but there are women who are more traditional who thinks they found the one because love is blind. And I'm sure Tiger told her all the right things and was a gentleman and provided her with what she needed. And she probably didn't necessarily think he had. Who knows? I mean, if I was that hot.
I think as far as like being a professional athlete, rock star, or, anybody famous, being married, I think that's always in their head. That comes with the territory of being married to that person.
I agree.
It's a detriment to being married.
I think
it's a detriment to traditional life.
Now, I'm 100% loyal to my wife. I love my wife, this and that. Do I have urges and temptations? Of course. I'm a man. I'm a human being, But a lot of I said nobody, but I'm sure there's some that's completely loyal to their wife. You've got that many women, I'm talking throwing themselves at you.
Yep.
They're going to fall.
That's like
human nature. You're going to make
Ron White said about Tiger. Most guys, most average human beings sleep with 100% of the women that they have a chance with. Tiger was 13 out of 88,000. And he literally had anyone and everyone massive. There's a huge contingency and they're rich groupies on the tour.
Yeah.
Like these chicks they're not just like,
they're not your everyday groupies. Yeah. No, they're not your everyday groupies.
Right.
These girls are supermodels.
Yes. I would put them pound for pound, and that's not a lot of pounds, up against any groupies on the planet. They are high class. But he had issues. It wasn't just going after that. He was going after like the Waffle House chick. He had an addiction issue with it. It wasn't because he was seeking that attention and affection that he didn't have as a child, in my opinion.
It'll never fill that hole that would never be filled by any of those conquests.
I'm not a therapist, but that's very evident of how his behavior was. And like with his off the course, put it this way, his wife, Ellen, was the sister of another tour player, right? Jesus Christ, Drew. But his wife was the sister of Jesper Parnevik. And
hey, check my Instagram.
I'm not sorry, not sister. Nanny. She was a nanny for Jesper. They was very well aware of what went on to her. She was a pretty, I don't want to call her meek, but she was pretty traditional woman. And she just snapped after dealing with so much shit. So I get it, but she also made a ton of money out of that deal, but I'm sure that's not what she wanted out of the deal.
No, she wanted to raise her kids with a man that loved her. I'm sure is what she wanted. She seems simple to me, but I'm sure she wasn't as simple.
I don't know. I've heard stories both ways, but the amount of money that he made and invest over the years is astronomical. He's one of the wealthiest athletes of all time.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. How far are we from said faction, buddy?
12, 13 minutes.
All right,
yeah,
we're good.
We got a little bit of time.
We're good.
Terry, there's a good life in that.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm convinced at my age, in my current economic situation, that women want the cash when it comes down to it.
Stability.
Especially
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Gold diggers. There's a lot of them out there. Trust me.
That's the thing, YouTube. So, like with golf, what people don't take into account, yeah, you can get sponsorship deals, and that's how you survive a lot of times, especially when you're younger. That's all gravy as you get established. That's all extra. But you earn every single penny that you make. Like, if you don't play well, you don't make cuts, you don't make money, and you don't make the top 125, so you don't maintain status. You can't play in
tournament. Cost and that you incur going to play.
Right, I'm not talking about that, though. I'm talking about if you don't make the top 125, you don't have conditional status for the next year. So they don't even have an opportunity to play to make money. So if the guys are in that top 125, which seems like a lot of people, but it's really not when you look at how many people try, they have to play well to be able to keep their card. And the guys that are consistently, the top 20 to top 30 make a lot of money, but there's the top 20 to 30 in the world. That's just how it is. But I think I looked last year to get there on the tour. I think last year that the 125th spot was still like $800,000, $900,000. But the amount of overhead that these guys have is crazy. Like every single week is probably $10,000 to $30,000 depending upon the week, as far as
just your burn rate.
Yeah, travel, entry fee, per diems, paying your caddy. And then if you got some of these guys that are bigger, they have their whole team with them. If they go to certain tournaments, they got a sports psychologist, they've got an nutritionist, they've got a workout person, they've got their golf coach,
trainer,
whatever. And if they're paying for these guys to travel to these events, that all adds up as well too. It's crazy expensive. So they have a lot of overhead. It's wild. But
I'm gonna throw y'all a weird curveball as we get to the end. Do y'all ever know who Shane Gillis is?
Yes.
You know his buddy Matt? They have a podcast.
McCusker? Yep.
Yeah. Have you ever watched that shit? Dude, I just found that last week. Those dudes are goddamn hilarious.
Yeah.
That Matt McCusker guy, where's he from? I know they've been together before Shane got famous, but he's hilarious.
He's been a comic forever, too.
I'm just not that plugged into the comic community. I know Shane's Saturday Night Live arc and all that stuff and how he kind of came by to stick it to him. And I think he's just hilarious. Just his real conversational personality is hilarious. But those guys have some amazing stories that are just freaking hilarious. And I'm getting served up clips of all their stuff.
They got a good podcast.
Very good podcast. I love the way it's so low key.
Yep. So what's crazy, Terry, is like the guys that they call it looping. So if you get a loop for one of the top players, that is a very lucrative profession, but it's also extremely hard work. They have to do a lot of work, and it's not just what you see on prior to. They're doing prep work. They're getting there early, scouting stuff. I mean, it's very, very involved. But so like if you win, they get 10% of the cut. So, a big tournament, they're winning $2 to $3 million. That guy just made $200,000 for that week. But if they go out there and their player doesn't make the cut, they make nothing other than their flat rate, which may be their expenses plus couple thousand. So it's a gamble, and that's why a lot of the guys, once they get on a good bag, they stick with that player for a long time unless they just can't work it out personality wise. But that's like the most integrated coworker you've ever had to have. You have to be able to, read that player's mind, figure out being able to positive, keep them in the moment. There's a lot of mental that goes into that too.
Yeah, to me, golf is, you've got to be more than just a physical player. You got to have complete control of your mind, your emotions, your muscle memory. I mean, it's all got to be able to work. Me neither.
I'm like Happy Gilmore out there.
I think you can watch me tee off and I'll look impressive until I get on the green.
No, I love playing golf. It's relaxing. It's quiet.
No, it's not.
I love being out there with my buddies, and none of us are good, so we just have fun with it, and it is relaxing. Like, here's the thing, we're not professional by any means. We have to let people play through all the time, but hey, whatever. We're out there to have fun, hang out.
That's a different way to look at it. I think for somebody like Kyle, who's been competitive for so long,
I
bet he has a hard time letting himself just enjoy around.
Kyle did it professionally.
Yeah, the better you get, the less fun it is.
Right, exactly.
You can't dial it back and just enjoy the skill.
When you go out there with the expectation that you suck, you already know it. It don't piss you off. You're out there.
I've gone to club in a lake before.
And here's the thing. I know I'm going to slice the ball. I know this ball is going in the woods. It's going anywhere but the fairway. I know that. And it gives me and all my buddies reasons to talk shit to each other.
Right.
For 3 or 4 hours. And we absolutely love it. Because we all suck. It gives all of us ammunition. It's the greatest thing ever.
And that's how we used to enjoy it when I worked, and we'd play scrambles and go out and take clients out because it wasn't serious. I would think if it gets serious is when it's not as fun.
Yeah. It is like, I got a couple of buddies, man. They play beer a hole.
Yeah.
By the 18th hole, they're so drunk, they're swinging and can't even hit the ball. It's hilarious.
I played once since I got sober. We used to start with Bloody Marys before the clubhouse, and at the turn, it was a beer cart girl would have to follow us around. It was just because we had beer and vodka in our cart, and it was just part of it.
Don't get me wrong, it can be fun, but like at some point, most of the time,
if I don't make it back before y'all close, good night. I got this again.
Most of the time, for me, it was something was on the line. So
right.
I was 100%
dialed into the game and making the score.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but like even if I'm playing with like buddies and we're doing a practice round or something, like, dude, we got money on the line. It's something that
you're playing something per hole,
right? And typically it was not $1. I mean, it wasn't chump change. So you're trying to. Plus, it's bragging rights. So
exactly. I mean. Even if it was $1, I'm sure it was a lot more than that per hole, but it's the same thing about when you're playing competitively like that, you want to be able to rib your friends hard.
Yeah. I mean, it gets tiresome because the weird thing is most times in sports, you're able to react. So if you do something bad, you're able to react and potentially recover and overcome it. It's the only sport where you have to sit there and think about it until your next opportunity. And that racks a person's brain more than anything you can imagine.
I can't imagine at somebody like your level, because I know exactly what you're talking about on a total amateur level, wondering if I'm going to top this ball, which is a lot worse. Am I going to top it another 10 feet or am I going to get under it and get where I need to go? And just that little bit of stress with friends, I can't imagine if you compound that to knowing you should have hit a shot differently because you've hit it so many times and then wondering what's going on.
Derek, I realized that my junior and senior year that came out, that was roughly the time that Duvall was popping off. And I realized I was just an absolute horrible teammate because I knew that I was dragging them along and I felt the pressure that I was dragging them along. And I hated it. And I didn't want to be part of that because I knew I was going to have to do it myself. And I got tired of setting expectations for myself that were not reasonable. So just to cover up someone else's slack. And I got tired of people not being better themselves. So I was not good at that aspect of it, because it's weird in the school setting like that, being a team game, but everything else is always an individual sport. So like if I mess up, I'll take blame, but I don't want to take blame for someone else screwing up. That pissed me off.
And the same thing with high school wrestling. I mean, if you just figured out as a coach what matches you need to win, but then when you're at practice the next day, they're like, if you just hadn't gotten this, we'd have had enough team points. I'm like, I don't care about that. If fat ass over there hadn't gotten pinned, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Well, that's why, like, even in wrestling, sometimes the coaches would literally not care about a certain weight class and just let it forfeit and try to win the other matches that they knew.
Yeah, they've got to test out on which ones they got to win and which ones they have the best odds of winning.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we had, like our lineup in wrestling was stacked closer to at the very bottom and at the very top. The middle guys were the weak links. So, like, he would literally just let those guys fight it out all week long and practice and beat the shit out of each other. And just, if you guys go out there and do okay, you do okay. But he focused on teaching the lightweights and
the upper weights.
Yeah.
That's where our strength was too. From like, even when I got heavier, from like 98 to 126 and then 167, 185 and heavyweight.
Yep. Yeah. We had, our was it 112 or whatever that low 110s, whatever that one was.
112. Yeah.
112, 120, and the one right above it all went to state. And then 167, the 180, and was it 210? And then it went to heavyweight?
It went 167, 185, then heavyweight.
I thought there was one in between.
No, it was 98, 105, 112, 119. These are before Christmas, before you got weight.
Yeah, but then they also changed it. And
132, 142, 167, 185, and heavyweight when I wrestled, which was 86 or 85, 82 through 85. So it could have changed. It very well could have changed.
We got 1 minute.
Okay. Well, guys, I appreciate everybody. Channel members, we will have a members live Sunday. I'll do Tuesday night. But then Friday and Sunday night next week, we're probably going to cancel. But I appreciate each and every one of you. Kyle, you got anything to share with these lovely people?
Nope. Have a good weekend.
We will see y'all at Said Stevie. Look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Peace.